Butler left side. Oh my goodness! Wow.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
I mean, they really just weren't boxing out, so I just went in and, got the putback dunk, and then afterwards, me and Jared have a competition to see who can get the most dunks on the season, and for some reason, he thinks he's going to have more than me. Like, yeah, he plays more minutes, but, like, come on. And so, he was like, okay, you beat me now, and I was like, I've already been beating you. So that was our conversation down the court. That was pretty cool.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Mitchell kick to the corner. Butler spins it up and in. Wow!
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Meyer three. Got it.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we are on this Monday, a couple of days after Matthew Meyer tore down the Farrell Center with a thunderous dunk that launched Baylor into what was eventually cruise control in the second half and eventually a 12-point win, and now sets up, my goodness, how much fun is this? Number 2 against number 6, Baylor and Texas. Texas is back with their full throttle. Shaka Smart is back, and UT is going to allow around 2,000 fans in the Irwin Center. It's just a coincidence that it's against the number 2 team in the country.
Oh, I'm sure that was the plan all along, that on February 2nd, that's what they were going to do. I'm sure it was written into the bylaws.
It's amazing how the CDC clears that up. Just perfect timing for them to, just really encourage more fans to be out. But no, I mean, hey, I'm sure Baylor, if the shoe was on the other foot, would do the same thing. So, hey, if you're the number 2 team in the country, maybe you feel like you're number 1, then you got to go out on the road and beat teams, even if it's a pandemic year. So, yeah, 2,000 UT fans will be there or whatever they're going to have, and that'll, certainly spice things up, but they're a good enough team to overcome that.
So, again, Texas, this note from John Rothstein that 19 days is the first time they've been together. Baylor, remember, had to go through a stretch where they were in and out. Scott Drew, of course, could not make the trip to Connecticut, and then eventually those games were canceled. They then said, okay, let's go to Vegas. And so that's going to be interesting to see how quickly Texas can get their legs underneath of them. And they're good. They're number 6 in the country despite the loss to Oklahoma. Gonzaga and Baylor 1-2. Villanova, Michigan 3-4. Houston, a highest seed or ranking since the 83-84 Phi Slamma Jamma. Number 5 is Texas, or is Houston. Texas is 6. Oklahoma has moved up to number 9, and they've done something that no one's done in like 50 years. Texas Tech, West Virginia, Kansas also among the top 25. Davion Mitchell, part of a split with Davion Harmon of Oklahoma as the Big 12 men's basketball players of the week. So that's where we are with that, and we'll hear from Scott Drew on Texas, and also knowing UT and knowing that should be one heck. Can't wait to watch that game tomorrow night in Austin.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. And look, for Baylor, it's a key game because it gives you an opportunity to be 3 games up on the second-place team.
Absolutely.
Which is quite often called the Kansas, because that's what Kansas did in the league forever, where, they could be a little up and down, but they'd always seem to have like a cushion to where they could. And so I don't think Baylor's going to hit any kind of real lull as long as everybody's together and healthy and playing. This team is really good. But if you can get a 3-game lead with a month to go, that's exactly what you want, because it'd be really hard to lose the conference then.
Yeah, I mean, first I want to, say on Oklahoma, what an incredible rise for them. I mean, 3 top 25 wins in a row or whatever it was, the first time, I think a second time in like 25 years that's occurred. So incredible run by Lon Kruger and company. Didn't expect them to be kind of in the mix. Didn't expect them to be a top 10 team. So that's wild, but great for the Big 12.
Especially after Baylor dismantled them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't look like a top 10 team that Baylor took care of, but shows you how good the Bears are. So as far as tomorrow night goes, I mean, yeah, this is a huge game for breathing room. I think even if you lose tomorrow night, people still feel pretty good about your chances to go on and win the Big 12, because I think people would probably still favor them in a rematch in Waco. But if you go win in Austin, then shoot, man. I mean, you're going to definitely be expected to win that second game. But you could open up the conference and end up winning by 4 or 5 games. I mean, if you beat Texas tomorrow night. So, not trying to get too far ahead of myself, but man, that 3-game breathing room type of a lead that you could create for yourself would just be massive.
Yeah, plus you have at least one of the 2 games against the team right behind you. No question about that. As this is a year like it was a couple of years ago, and the Big 12's open for somebody else to win it. A couple of years ago, it was Texas Tech and Kansas State?
Yeah.
It was Kansas State, I believe it was, that put that on.
Yeah, I misspoke on Oklahoma. 3 straight top 10 wins. I said the last 25 years. I think that's 3 straight top 25 wins. But I meant top 10 wins in the last 25 years is what
Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas Tech in the last week, and they went from 23 to number 9. So Scott Drew and Baylor will also today hear from Myron Metcalf, ESPN national basketball writer. He'll join us at 4:30. Kendall Gammon, who's the color analyst for Kansas City Chiefs Radio, will join us at 3:30. And an interesting story. In all of my years, 39 years, and of course preferred walk-ons have been a part of college football, but you saw where Baylor's already had several that have said, I'm coming to Baylor as a preferred walk-on. It's a way to supplement your roster. Sometimes you have these stories of guys who eventually become scholarship players. But C.J. Rogers, the quarterback at Argyle High School, who said he's going to Baylor last week, Sean Bell, we mentioned that. He'll join us today at just after 5. Also, one note, tomorrow, Jerome Tang will be one of our guests tomorrow. Mac Rhodes, John McClain. Craig and Grayson will handle this show tomorrow. Paul and I will get on the big flight and head to Tampa for Super Bowl 55 coverage. Again, our presenting sponsor, Marco's Pizza, along with our great core of sponsors as well. So Scott Drew, he knows Texas. Texas knows Scott Drew. Shaka Smart, UT. Here's Scott Drew on the University of Texas, that game on Tuesday night.
Well, I think that definitely makes it easier because at the end of the day, people improve, but usually the things that they do at the highest level, you're used to by now, meaning some guys prefer to drive right, some guys prefer to drive left, some guys that first step's a little quicker than it might look on film, but if you've gone against them for 2 or 3 years, you know that. So and for the guys that are shooters, when they've scored 15 on you or 20, it's a little easier to convince them that they're great shooters. So I think big thing for us is their players have gotten better, like our players have gotten better, and that's why both of our programs are doing so well.
That's Scott Drew and the University of Texas. Shaka Smart. Again, they'll have all of their players first time in about 3 weeks together against each other. We'll hear more from him and Davion Mitchell, who was fantastic. Regular season wins over a top 10 team or better in the same month. So they have turned it around. And they won that game with Alabama a week ago without Merrick in the lineup. Or no, was it Reeves? Without Reeves in the lineup. So they are very, very good. Nice win for the Lady Bears last night. They kind of helped find their way. High-scoring game. They finally stopped giving up a bunch of threes, although that's kind of the – isn't that, Paul? That's kind of the MO how to beat Baylor. Of course it is. That's the only way because they're so much better inside than everybody else.
That's the only way that any team has beaten them, except for maybe UConn when they played UConn, because UConn obviously can match up with them. But any team, whether it's South Carolina or Louisville or anybody who's beaten them over the years, two things happen. They get they make a lot of shots from three, and long threes too, not like just right behind the thing. You know, they take risks on shots, and then they have a game that goes their way call-wise, because Kim plays very physical, tough defense, and if you get a lot of fouls, then you can get them in foul trouble. Those are the two things that happen.
I saw some chatter about that. Both teams shot about the same amount of free throws, but you're right, they got themselves into foul trouble, and Iowa State, man, they're just pretty good. I mean, they're pretty good, too. They've beaten Baylor the last couple of times, including the game a couple of weeks ago when Carrington made a big difference for them, and Nalissa Smith went really, really strong in the second half.
And sometimes in the officiating, it's not what exactly, it's when it happens and for how long. So if you have a streak of whistle, 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 whistle that can kind of get you out of a defensive flow, then I think that's more like it. Or if a game just is one of those games where they have a lot of whistles and you do it. But those are the two keys. If you can make your threes and get fouls, then that's how you have to. There's no other formula. That's the formula. That's it. And it's really hard to do because they're really good at everything.
How about, what are you guys, Jason Witten, by the way, is going to coach Liberty Christian School. He's retired now. He will become a high school coach at Liberty Christian. I think that's up in Argyle. What about the Stafford to Rams trade? How about the Lions get Goff, take his contract, give up those picks, and, man, did the Rams give up too much? Did the Lions get enough? What are your thoughts?
The Rams haven't used a first-round pick since they took Jared Goff, and in that time they went to a Super Bowl. So Les Snead appears to know how to navigate that. I do think it's interesting. I like the deal for the Rams. I think the Lions do need to have one of those things. The Dolphins kind of set the table for, here's what you do. If you've not been good for a long, long time, blow it up. Get as many draft picks as you can and build from the bottom up. And I like what both teams did. This is actually being in the top 5 at 555 today, some of the ramifications of this.
Well, I want to go back to the Lady Bears and say welcome back, Dejanay Carrington. Obviously, having her back in the mix was a big deal. I don't know if you had mentioned that or not.
I did.
Okay,
that's okay. That. No, I just said that she made a difference because she was a part of this game rather than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and just welcome back. I mean, she hadn't played in a while. So,
and she was good.
Yeah, she had a big night. So on the NFL, I like the trade for both teams. I mean, Matthew Stafford was just riding away in Detroit. He was never going to accomplish anything there. He's barely accomplished anything there outside of his own individual stats, and it's not his fault. I mean, he's run a gamut of bad coaching, bad players around him. I mean, they're relying last year and, bringing in a 47-year-old Adrian Peterson, although Adrian and I are nowhere near 47, but we are close in age. But, yeah, I mean, there's just what momentum does this franchise of the Detroit Lions have, or have they had in Matthew Stafford's entire time there? I mean, he's just riding away there. So the guy will finally actually have a real chance to go win something important, and I think that's great for him because he's not to the point where he's only got a couple years left, but he's a couple years away from being to the point where he's probably got a couple years left. So he's actually going to have a real shot to win something. And for the Lions, I mean, same thing for them. I mean, they've had Stafford for like 20 years now, and nothing was going to get any better or change, or they weren't going into any Super Bowl anytime soon. So I feel like bringing Jared Goff in, maybe it just spices things up a little bit, gives you a new direction, a new look, and a new angle. But I love the deal for the Rams as far as, you obviously didn't trust Goff that much. You didn't like him that much. And he felt that because that was, his comment after the fact was, I'm glad to go somewhere where I'm being appreciated. So clearly things weren't on the up and up there. So sounds like it's working out best for everybody involved, and we'll see who it really pays off for here in a couple years.
Take a call. Also text 254-339-1122. The Texas High School Football Hall of Fame banquet, which last year was wiped out because of COVID. Mike Anderson sent an email out to all of us who are a part of either the board or the staff or the balloting committee, whatever. May 1st, they have set the date to induct Charlie Taylor, Chuck Dykes, Eric Dickerson, Tyrone Thurman, David Warren, Danny Amendola, Chad Morris, Dan Hooks, and Joe Martin, who for a long, long time was a part of the Texas High School Coaches Association, along with the state champions the last couple of years. It will be a lengthy but full banquet, no question, starting on May the 1st of 20. That's this year. At least they've planned the date. Doesn't mean it won't be backed off at some point, because we'll see where we are with COVID. We're supposed to have our Academic All-Stars banquet on May 19th at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. At least we've said it, and now let's see what happens. Also, Dustin Pedroia announced his retirement. Then we go to a call. 37 years old, four-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, AL MVP, was a part of the World Series 3 times, 3 rings in his career. Paul, Hall of Famer?
No, injuries cost him his Hall of Fame track, because the way he started out like a guy who, if he was consistent over a decade and didn't miss any time, would have probably been a Hall of Famer. He's one of the better second basemen of his era, but if you look at his overall numbers, he's got about a 300 career batting average. He's got, a good amount of home runs for a little guy and RBI and all that stuff, but nothing that's going to, knock your socks off. But he's in the Hall of pretty darn good. Yep. All right. Just too many injuries.
Yeah, I know that's sad, because he's just one of those guys. He was kind of their version of Craig Biggio, I guess, with Boston, but had the 3 rings as well. All right, here we go.
Steven in Virginia is on the Impact Health Labs caller line, and I have a feeling Steven's really happy after what happened with the Cardinals this weekend.
Hey, guys. We'll get to the Cardinals thing in a second, because, yes, that just about changed my weekend. First, I want to say, as a person with some perspective on the Rams, I always felt like Jared Goff was a victim of being the best quarterback from a Power 5 school who also was in the state of California at the same time that the Rams were moving to Los Angeles. I felt like that was an ownership decision, and over the years, the lack of trust for Goff made me more and more confident in that. So, yes, I'm sure Jared Goff is glad to be back somewhere where he's finally appreciated, as he says. Second, the Baylor basketball team, the best Baylor basketball team I've ever seen. That's a large statement, but I'm ready to say it. They could be tied with you at halftime. They could be up by 3 with 10 minutes to go, but eventually they're going to go on a run and they're going to stomp you out. And then the last thing is, yes, Nolan Arenado is a Cardinal. Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright re-signed on the same day. The Cardinals have decided to go old school and to flex the Cardinals' muscle. And I just have to say, it's over for all of you.
That's it. Drop the mic. Yeah, that's it.
It's over. It's over. I'll talk to y'all later. It's over for y'all.
Thank you, Steven. There you go. I mean, I love it. Just drop the mic and move into the season. Hope they don't delay the year, although it looks like they might do that. That's another story as well.
Let's go to T-Rex. You're on the Impact Health Labs caller line. Thanks for your call.
Hey, gentlemen. How y'all doing today?
Doing great.
Hey, I just wanted to stop by and just put in a little positivity. I just want everybody listening, it's Monday, but it's a new week. It's a new chance at a vibrant life. The weather's outside is, beautiful. I just want everybody to have a great week, including old Bruce Pearl. A little bit of positivity, man. Hey, it's all right. You came into Waco. You ran your mouth. You got punched in it. It's okay. I mean, things happen. I mean, like your wife taking a divorce settlement and opening a hair salon called alimony. Things happen. It's okay, Bruce. Have fun at the bottom of the barrel. We'll be at the top. Sic'em Bears, I got to go.
There you go, T-Rex. Thank you very much of being so sweet. God, I think you still got some.
Well, Bruce Pearl's a sore loser.
Yeah,
and,
no, he is.
He absolutely
was a sore loser before the game with the Davion Mitchell comment, which here's a guy who's been in trouble for NCAA violations throughout his career, and he wants to pop off at Baylor recruiting Davion Mitchell off his roster, which probably did, like everyone else who's a transfer.
Yeah, and I would love to just go through his catalog and let's compare and contrast him and Scott Drew and what each has done throughout their careers and who could be looked at as maybe somebody who's bent the rules a little bit. I would think Bruce Pearl's the one that's going to come out on top in that competition. So he, it's kind of funny that he would be the guy to take issue with something. But, then there was the anonymous quote and whatever the new article was, and many people seem to think that it was Bruce Pearl about Baylor's not even really a good offensive team. They're just a bunch of individual players who get hot. That does sound like something he probably would have said. I wish that Seth Davis would say no, it wasn't him, just so people could. If it really is not him, then you could say okay, let's lay off of Bruce on that.
What you're alluding to is an article in theathletic.com by Seth Davis, and I have the quote here in a minute. But go ahead. Just want to make sure everyone knows where that came from.
So if Seth Davis would do him a solid, and if it's not Bruce Pearl that said that, then I think it'd be great for him to come out and say, no, it's somebody completely different. And then let people have their imagination about who that could potentially be, like Shaka or Self or somebody else. But I would be shocked if it wasn't Bruce Pearl that said this, quite frankly. And, if it was him that said it, then it furthers what I said a few minutes ago even further.
They don't run great offense. They really don't. They just have great individual playmakers. The only way I could see them losing is if those guys don't make shots. And I could see that if they don't hit a bunch of threes. But that's not the entire – but their toughness and their experience and their defense will keep them in games. They're not going to score a ton in the post. Those guys are more intangible pieces. Vital understands his role, loves it. Meyer could start for almost every other team in the league. You need two elite defenders to deal with Butler. So in the end, it was a very nice compliment, but they don't run a great offense, can catch your attention. Turnovers could be an issue. I agree. Mm-hmm. They sometimes seem to get bored or lackadaisical, especially if they're playing a team that convert those into points. You can get them on the offensive glass a little bit.
Man, you could also mention free throws in there, but I really hate the media. Because when you hear that quote in full, it's not that bad.
No, in fact, it's a pretty good compliment.
One part that they put out there is if it's the only thing that he said is the part about they don't run great offense. They really don't. They just have great individual playmakers.
And then boom.
And then it's just the end of the quote. And yet then he goes on for 5 sentences about individual guys and their roles, and that's such BS, man. I hate the media, dude. I hate the media.
Entire paragraph about really how damn good they are and why they're really good.
And look, do they do they not run great offense, or does Scott Drew really have to draw up stuff like Gene Hackman and Hoosiers for this team to win, or are they just so talented that he can kind of let them go? Part of great coaching is knowing, the best coaching job that Mack Brown ever did and the staff did was with Vince Young. And you know what happened with Vince Young? When they stopped
trying to coach
make
him too
Vince
much.
Young into something else and just let Vince Young be Superman, then they won the national title. And it's kind of this way with a basketball IQ team that's really high. You don't probably have to coach this team very much. You can just say, all right, here's what we're going to do. Make sure you do these things, and you're going to win games. And you don't have to sit there and coach.
Speaking of which, we have a soundbite, Armstrong and Rob and Armstrong running the mothership today. It's Scott Drew. I asked him the question. You keep now seeing all these newest stories, columns, and people who are covering them, how unselfish they are. They're such a that's been documented. But I asked Scott Drew that after the game in the win against Auburn. Scott, there continues to be more and more people that keep talking about how unselfish, how much you guys play, that nobody cares about the points to minutes. Not that they don't care, but haven't you been doing that long enough to where that no longer should be the story?
I think it's because it's rare nowadays. And I think I've heard it a lot, too, when people watch us play, just the joy, the excitement they see from the players on the bench to the players on the floor celebrating each other's success. And I think, again, arenas aren't packed with fans, and that extra adrenaline's not pumped into you. So it's really important you bring your own. And again, I think you can always tell teams that love each other a little bit more than other teams just by how they interact and how they communicate. And you can only fake things for so long. And we got a lot of guys that really genuinely like each other.
All right, so that's something that you know, it's pretty much been documented now, but I get it. That's still a good thing to continue to be part of their story. Myron Metcalf was going to join us from ESPN at 4:30. When Baylor decides to hit the button, they embarrass you. Next level separation. They can shut down your best player, disrupt everything you hope to do. Now, they'll get tested, no question, because they have some dudes at Texas, and they got a lot of guards, and they got height inside. So that's pretty interesting. And also, Ryan Black had this story. He wrote a column about Bruce Weber still okay at Kansas State despite a very bad year. Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo called him and said, God couldn't have beaten Baylor, that Baylor team the other night. That was on, Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Whenever night it was when they put up over 100.
Yeah. And I like what Myron said about that when they decide. I don't know if it's decide or like they just wait for the moment when you're at your weakest, and then they know when to turn it on.
Like an animal going after its prey.
They just know, okay, now it's time to go. We've got them where we want them. They're a little tired. Baylor's got so much depth that rotates in. And then they just, because they're so unselfish, they'll feed the hot hand. You know, that Davion Mitchell talked about the other night after Kansas State, what they call the heat check. If you've made 2 threes in a row, the whole team knows he's gonna get to take that other shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's amazing how they can just smash the gas down. But, eventually they're going to run into somebody that if they're not shooting particularly well or find themselves in a bit of a hole, they're not going to smash the gas against Gonzaga. They're not going to smash the gas against teams like that. Now, they can to an extent, but to become reliant on that in some ways is not going to be, something that lasts or stands the test of time, in my opinion. Now, I don't think this team's going to fall into that trap of like, oh, well, we'll just turn it on when we turn it on. I don't think they think that way. I just think they have an accredited ability to do so. But, yeah, like as the competition gets tougher, they get into tournament play, that's going to probably be fewer and farther, between is being able to have that ability to just smash the throttle.
Now, one quote from Bruce Pearl that was after the game, and I couldn't find the audio, but I saw some of the quotes in the postgame, was when he mentioned – with a little over 5 minutes left in the game, we took a timeout, Bruce Pearl saying Auburn did, and we cut into their lead, and he mentioned that Baylor kept all of their starters in the game to work on their scoring margin, I guess. That also kind of was poking the bear a little bit.
I have that if you want it.
Do you? Okay, yeah. Let me hear that.
Proud of the kids for coming back. We called a timeout. They're late, about 5 minutes to go. Baylor kept their starters in the entire game. Trying to build on their scoring margin or something.
Oh, that's a jerk comment.
It's just unnecessary.
You were pressing.
It's Kim Mulkey one time taught. I think it might have been Karen Aston at Texas.
Oh, yeah.
She unloaded her starters she took her starters out, and she brought in her next wave, which can still be better than most people's starters, but she brought in the next wave, cleared the bench a little bit, and then Texas started pressing. Well, of course you're going to take a 28 or 29 or 17-point lead and cut into it the last few minutes. So you know what Kim did? She put her starters back in and popped that thing back up to 20-plus or whatever. There is kind of an unwritten rule. I empty my bench up a bunch, and then you want to start pressing me? Okay. And again, it's gamesmanship. But Bruce Pearl didn't need to say that. He's just bitter.
That was a dumb comment. Like the one that Seth Davis put out there and completely chopped off like the majority of it. That was a misleading quote. And what he said actually was very complimentary. Like, I really do hate our profession sometimes, guys. That bothers me to no end. But
no question.
But as far as that other comment that he made, that's just being a sore loser is all that is. That's just being a sore loser. You can tell by his body language and the way he says it, how he's kind of what he has in mind as he says it. And, that was unnecessary and just a bad look when you've just lost to a team. I mean, just keep your head held high and don't try to, stir the pot, but that's what he did there.
Kendall Gammon is the broadcast radio analyst. He's there, Babe Laufenberg for Kansas City, the radio broadcast for the Chiefs. The Cowboys, of course, we'll discuss a little bit about what he thinks from them from afar. as somebody that watches the NFL, but the bottom line is as Chiefs and Buccaneers, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, Andy Reid trying to repeat as Super Bowl champions, and we'll hear from Kendall Gammon, who's the color analyst for the Chiefs, next on SicEm365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace, what are you going to have? Are you going to have any kind of a Super Bowl get-together, any kind of party whatsoever? Probably not as many as there have been in the past 54 years. But if, in fact, you need something special for the Sunday get-together, whether it's just a handful of friends or maybe a few people you know, maybe family members, or just you, Waco Custom Marketplace can customize what you need when it comes to your Super Bowl party or your Super Bowl party tray, snacks, food. It could be cold cuts, could be all sorts of various types of cheeses. And then, of course, you could always, if you want to cook something even more, tri-tip or brisket, they have their butcher shop that will customize an order. You may even want to do like bacon-wrapped shrimp. You do it yourself or ask them. Maybe they'll help you with that order as well. But you got to go by or get online, WacoCustomMarketplace.com. Their location is 425 Lake Air Drive, and they will be all in the middle of our big cook-off on March the 6th with Brian Etheridge and former Baylor offensive lineman Blake Blackmar when we do that here in the studio and right here at 101 Elm Avenue. So, Waco Custom Marketplace. If you want something for yourself cooking throughout the week or this weekend, fine. They have a butcher shop and they have a bakery to help you out. If you want something for Super Bowl Sunday, they can help you with that as well at WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
2020 made you tough. Now get a tough SUV to match. There's a reason Allen Samuels has been a Customer First Excellence Award winner for 3 consecutive years. Stop by and check out the friendly, courteous sales staff, world-class facility, and top-ranked Jeep inventory. Get $6,750 in values on a new Jeep Renegade or $4,000 in total values on the new Tough as Nails Jeep Gladiator Sport and Oberlin. Experience firsthand the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels and check them out at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online, pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville. But we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters. And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
At At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122. For your company's mass COVID testing, log on to impacthealthlabs.com.
All right, here we go. SicEm365 Radio. LaTroy Hawkins, who is the godfather of Patrick Mahomes, will join us today at 5:35. Longtime Major League Baseball pitcher, longtime friend of Patrick's father. And I've known him for a long time because I used to cover Pat Mahomes back in the days when he was Major League Baseball. Kendall Gammon, he is the radio color analyst for the Kansas City Chiefs, former NFL player as well, joins us on SicEm365. Kendall, thank you very, very much. Can you kind of compare either the atmosphere or the fan base's excitement this year trying to repeat this week compared to last year when they were going to try to win their first Super Bowl since the late 60s?
You know what? It's a good question. I'm not sure that there's much difference. I mean, they were equally keyed up last year because of the year before where they were a play away, a coin flip away. And, but I will say ever since they won the Super Bowl, it's been hashtag run it back, and that's what they've been trying to do. So definitely a buzz here for sure.
Do you think this team is better, worse, the same than last year? I mean, it doesn't appear that they've missed too much of a beat.
No, I think they are better. I think the defense has gotten better. The offense, goes without saying, they're doing some great things, but they're dealing with some challenges when you talk about the offensive line and all the injuries that they've got on it. And of course, most notably, Eric Fisher last week, left tackle going out.
What have you seen from Patrick Mahomes this year? I mean, obviously he stayed playing at a tremendously high level, but what differences, what gains, what have you noticed with Patrick?
I think he's been more willing to take the short passes and understand that teams are trying to make sure that they don't get over the top. So he's just been patient, and you basically, pick them to death short on the short game until they finally get a little bit irritated with it. They come up, and then all of a sudden he takes his shots deep. And when you got the cheetah running back there, or you got Travis Kelce running all over the field, you got some nice weapons.
They got the cheetah. They got a Jaguar, it seems like. They got a Lamborghini. They've got pretty much all the weapons you would want, don't they?
Yeah, there is a lot of arrows in the quiver. It's pretty amazing. The last thing anybody would have expected was for them to draft a running back number one, yet they did in Edwards-Helaire, and he's been everything they hoped. Now they're hoping that he'll continue to heal and be okay for this game. And if they can get the run game going like they had earlier in the year, I think that'll spell some big problems for Tampa Bay.
You mentioned Eric Fisher being out, and Tampa Bay's strongest part of their defense is that defensive line and the front seven with their great linebackers and David and Devin White. How do you think they compensate for Eric Fisher's loss in this game?
You know what? I think that you're going to have to chip somebody out there, because when you look at it in terms of Pierre Paul or you said David, Shaquille Barrett. They've got to make sure, because job number one is protect the QB. And even if you have to send somebody out, either one less out or send somebody out late in the routes, I think it's important that you make sure. That being said, they'll probably move Patrick around a little bit, I would think. That's when he does his best work anyway.
I know this is off topic to the game, but what are your thoughts on Eric Bieniemy in this latest coaching cycle, going all the way through without him getting a job again? What's kind of the thought amongst those in Kansas City as far as him and a future head coaching job?
Well, I think everybody believes that he will be a future head coach. Unfortunately, I think it's to his detriment that the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, so he couldn't go out and interview, I don't believe. So it'll happen sooner or later. And the fact is, you've seen so many proteges of Andy Reid get out there and do a nice job. So I think he'll be just another in the long list. It's probably overdone. I mean, in terms of how long it's taken him to get a job, but I do believe it will come.
By the way, I don't know if you have this. Yeah, I'm sure you do, but there's a report now that the backup center, Daniel Kilgore, and backup wide receiver Demarcus Robinson have been placed in the reserve COVID list because of close contact. This is the worst week to have something. I guess any week is bad, but have you heard anything about a flare-up throughout the team?
I have not. That's news to me. So you're scooping it. You're getting it done down there. Demarcus Robinson is a big one. I mean, Kilgore you can deal with because he's a backup, and I know Robinson's a backup also, but he plays quite a bit. If Sammy Watkins happens to be healthy, then that helps, settle that a little bit. But yeah, that's the last thing you want in this day and age is COVID, and that's the thing. It is this game. That's the one variable we don't have any idea about is what's going on health-wise with the team.
Yeah, I'm sure that everybody's on high alert more than they ever have with these two teams. But you mentioned Sammy Watkins getting in there. Part of the strength the Chiefs have on offense is that, all right, if you're going to do everything you can to stop Hill and Kelsey, then one of those guys like Demarcus Robinson or McCole Hardman will be open. If they don't have those weapons, do you think they change their offense a little bit up to kind of compensate for that?
No, Big Red is always the next man up, and he'll just expect somebody else. I mean, he may alter a few play calls, but in general, I mean, you've got Byron Pringle, who's done a really nice job also, the third-year kid out of K-State, and I mean, he's kind of an unsung hero, but he does some nice things for them as well. So they've got a pretty good core of receivers put together. And the fact is they've got the best QB right now delivering to them, so that makes a world of difference.
How much does this mean to Mahomes to not only be back in the Super Bowl, but to be squaring off with a guy like Tom Brady, who I knew he grew up idolizing?
You know what? I think the idolizing Brady and everything which he did, I'm sure, is a big deal more to us than him.
Right.
He's just simply competitive and he wants to win. And that's not to get on us or the media or the fans for thinking those things, because it makes complete sense. But he's just so darn competitive. He doesn't care about records. All he wants to do is put another ring on. And I'm going to tell you right now, as a fan base, you can definitely appreciate that.
Can you describe his maturity? He had a chance to sit and watch, and then ever since then they've unleashed him. And, of course, last year they unleashed him to win a championship. The year before that an MVP, and now they're back in the Super Bowl. You've been in the game. You were in the game a long time, Kendall. How about his maturity level for somebody that has everything right now at his fingertips?
Yeah, the level at which he conducts himself is well beyond the years that he has in this league, and it's something to be admired. I think you guys are going to talk to his godfather here later on, and they'll probably talk about it more. But how he handles himself, how his father got him ready and his mother got him ready. The game just wasn't too big for him. He's had great tutelage, contract-wise, in terms of how to handle himself from Steinberg, and then really Alex Smith was great for him also. He just proves how good a human being he is to know that, obviously the guy was drafted and is going to take his place, yet he tutors him in every sense of the word. So it's just a pretty cool deal. And I know I've got a friend who was actually a teammate of Patrick Mahomes' dad in baseball. And so when we were talking about Patrick and I told him how good a teammate he was and everything, he said, well, that doesn't surprise me at all because his dad was the best guy in the world also. So, he was born for it.
Kendall Gammon is our guest. He's a color analyst for the Chiefs, played with the Steelers, Saints, and also the Chiefs back during his NFL career.
He also, to me, Kendall, just seems to be a big fan of the game, in that, like, I'll be watching a game and then I'll see tweets from Patrick Mahomes. He's, oh man, look what the Ravens are doing. Lamar Jackson's unbelievable, or all this. He's very complimentary and an ambassador of the NFL in spite of who seems to be playing a game that he's not in.
Yeah, I think you're right on the mark. He just has a healthy respect for the game and what it does and what it's about, and he loves to watch it no matter what. Loves to play it also, and you're right on there. You couldn't ask the NFL. You couldn't ask somebody to be a better new, young, up and coming face of the NFL than Patrick Mahomes.
The weather, I think, is a little bit in question. It might get rainy, and hey, in the state of Florida, it can rain at a moment's notice. If there were to be some shady weather, some rain, how does that help, hurt, whatever, the Chiefs in this game, in your opinion?
You know what? I think Brady's used to playing in bad weather. I don't think it will affect him too much. And Mahomes has had some bad weather games too. You might see the pass game go a little bit. You might see slips and things like that. But ultimately, I think they'll continue with business as usual.
So you're the first ever long snapper named to the Pro Bowl?
I was, yes, in 2005.
What was that? I mean, it's not like they haven't been kicking field goals for 100 years and extra points, and someone's been doing that. What did that mean to you?
It was really cool. Coach Cowher gave me a call. He was my first coach with the Steelers. And of course, 15 years later, or I guess it was 13 years later, I'm with the Chiefs. And he gave me a call picking up my kid from elementary school and told me that he had added me to the roster of the Pro Bowl. And, I just told him, you made me cry once when you cut me, and now you're making me cry again. I mean, this is just too much. But, it's a pretty cool deal. There's no doubt about it. It's very fortunate, right place, the right time. And, it's kind of funny. I mean, one of my teammates on the Pro Bowl that year was Brady. He came in late after the Super Bowl. And so it's funny how the world works.
How about that, huh? I did not know that.
I know. Yeah.
One of the other unique things about Kendall Gammon, and there's a lot of young men that from the Central Texas area that play high school football that are committed to playing and are on the Pittsburgh State, the Gorillas football roster. There's great tradition with what they do. I think sometimes when people talk about dynasties, people forget about what they did back at Pittsburgh State.
You know what? I really appreciate you mentioning that. Yeah, because one of my other jobs is I'm the assistant to the president of Pittsburgh State University, and we are very proud of our football program. We've done some good things. I was fortunate enough to play on a national championship team in '91. Guys, I redshirted. I was there 4 years, so I was there 5 years. I never practiced after a loss, or I practiced after one loss. We were undefeated the first 4 years, and we lost in the playoffs. The fifth year, we lost a game, and then we won the national championship. So I was part of the 55-game 55-game regular season win streak. I mean, obviously, I'm all full of myself right now because you got Pittsburgh State going, but it was a great time, and it also just shows you that no matter where you go to school, if you've got the talent to play in the NFL, they're going to find you.
Yep, no question about it. Hey, enjoy it. Have you had to do some games from, like, for example, Arrowhead that might have been somewhere else? Because we've talked to Brad Sham, Babe Laufenberg, Christy Scales on the Cowboys broadcast. Have you had to kind of do some games when you weren't there, or have you been pretty fortunate?
No, they've done all the games. And just so you know, Super Bowl 54 was my last game, so I'm not the color this year. But that's fine. But they did everything from Arrowhead, so nobody traveled. If that's what you mean. Yeah,
that's kind of a unique way of doing that. And we see guys doing broadcasts of Baylor basketball, men's and women's games, football games from around wherever they are. So you're enjoying kind of double retirement then, right?
I am a little bit. I may get back into the game next year with CBS Radio. We'll just have to see. But I of course, COVID has taken it down. But I'm a speaker. I've written a couple books on retainer for a few companies, and motivational, inspirational, is just trying to make a difference with people in whatever shape I can. That's my true passion. So there's been a lot more time for this, and really, it's been a fun time to just be a fan. This is the first year since 2000 that I haven't been to a game at Arrowhead. And, I was involved in the NFL for, I guess, 27, 28 years. So it's been a fun ride, but it's been an even more enjoyable ride with how the Chiefs are playing now.
Thank you, Kendall. Appreciate your time. His last broadcast was a Super Bowl victory. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Enjoy what you're doing, and good luck with all the inspirational stuff as well. That's Kendall Gammon, former color analyst for the Kansas City Chiefs on 106.5 The Wolf. By the way, there's a note about that Stafford deal and what other teams that might have been interested, what they offered compared to what the Rams gave. We'll have that next. Also at 4:30, Myron Metcalf on Baylor men's basketball. C.J. Rogers from Argyle, preferred walk-on, will join Baylor this summer. His story, because it's really unique, And a young man who's been through double hip surgery and had a great career at Argyle High School his last year when they won the state title. This is SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Low testosterone therapy. Low testosterone is very common. Evidence now reveals that 1 in every 3 men suffers some sort of a condition when it comes to losing your testosterone levels. How do you find out if you've done that or not? Or that's part of what you are as you're getting older? There's a lot of things that change. Father Time eventually wins, and Father Time also breaks things down, including what could be your testosterone. Depending on how old you are. I'm 35, I'm fine. You never know. I'm 46, I'm still too young for that. You never know. Dr. Petty, here's what he can do. Get online, PettyClinicLowT.com, or call the number that's on the website. And if you're in the neighborhood just off of 84 and Woodway on Old Hewitt Road, take a right. There's a dentist office, and then there's Dr. Petty and a building with an insurance company as well. That's what he can do if you contact them to set you up for blood work, look at your testosterone levels, and if they are too low, he can put you in a program to increase your testosterone levels to where they need to be. You might need to be around 800 and you're at 350. He can get you up to that where you're supposed to be. You might be just below it. May not be that big of a deal, but he can also help make sure you maintain what you need when it comes to your testosterone levels. And you might be fine, but they also check for PSA, for prostate cancer, and then also cholesterol and much more. Dr. Kent Petty, help make sure you're the man you want to be at PettyClinicLowT.com.
Part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
I saw this pop up. Notes on the Stafford deal via Albert Breer, who works, of course, for the NFL Network.
SI now, I think.
Oh, SI? Okay. Yeah. So the Rams gave up Goff, which is really kind of to get rid of his salary, and the Lions accept that. It's about the same as Stafford. But they also gave up a first-round pick in 2022 and 23, and a third-round pick, I think it's this year. Mm-hmm. The Carolina Panthers offered the number 8 pick overall and a late-round choice. I think that the Lions got the better deal of that. Washington offered the number 19 pick and a third-rounder.
Why even call? Like, why even that? What is the point of that offer? There's no way in hell that's an offer that they're going to accept, especially when you see what they got eventually. But number 19 and a third-rounder.
I'm pissed at the Lions for not taking that. The Colts never offered number 21, but discussed other packages. They have the 21st pick. The Niners never even made an offer, and the Jets checked in but didn't go far with their talks.
I think the Niners are going to kick the tires on Deshaun Watson, because
somebody's going to have to.
If you put him on that roster with the running backs that they have, with the receivers, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, and I'm leaving. Oh, and look, if Jalen's healthy next year, I mean, those are some good receivers that can really play. George Kittle's with the best tight end in the league that's not named Travis Kelce. So, I mean, that's a team that can go to a Super Bowl real fast again, and you have a quarterback to send back to the Texans in order for it. Now you're going to have to mortgage your future with first-round draft picks, but if you mortgage your future with first-round draft picks and win a Super Bowl, then it's fine. If you mortgage your future with first-round draft picks and don't even get close, then it's not fine. And Washington knows that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think, though, that Deshaun Watson goes to any team, they're automatically way better and automatically a step closer to contention. I mean, you put them on the Redskins. They don't have a bunch of weapons around them, but you got guys like Terry McLaurin. All you do is you go draft, although depending on how many draft picks you have, you grab a couple receivers and you finally solidify your running back position, and they're not that far away with the defense that they have. So, I mean, he makes average teams a lot more than average in a very quick second if you bring him onto your roster. I mean, he's a massive upgrade for every single team that we just mentioned right there. So kind of funny to see how just lowball some of those offers are. Maybe they fingers crossed hoping that like the Lions wouldn't be paying attention or something. But yeah, I mean, the Niners, the Redskins, the Colts. I know the Colts really like Pat McAfee was really hoping the Colts would land Stafford. All those teams will be ones to watch, and clearly 4 teams that are wanting to see what's out there as far as quarterbacks go. So,
but there are a lot of quarterbacks available. So, but what the Rams did was go for it. Mm-hmm. That's what they did. You got to give them credit. They didn't give up first-round pick this year. Do they have one this year?
No.
Okay,
they don't.
But Washington has built who they are now, at least through what they've done with the draft, especially on the offensive line, which has gotten stabilized. And the defense.
Well, they need to work in the O-line a little bit.
Yeah, but what's his name? Scherf is who they thought he would be when they drafted him high out of Iowa.
Yeah.
And so, but you're right.
But they lost Trent Williams, and that was a big.
Yeah. But they could get another offensive lineman to help. Yeah.
The Colts are an interesting one because that was a great fit for Stafford because, like the Rams, the Colts are built. Defense is good. Skill position players are good.
Yep.
Offensive line, although
running back,
they did lose Anthony Costanzo retired, so that's somewhere they're going to focus in the draft and getting a new left tackle. But the bottom line is the Colts are pretty well built, so they don't really need to go and get a rookie quarterback and hope for the best. And they don't want to get a bridge quarterback like Kirk Cousins or...
Well, they already tried with Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, they already tried that. Like, they're a good team. Phillip Rivers showed how good that they are, and they want to get a good quarterback. I wonder, depending on what the Falcons' way forward is, if the Colts don't give a little ring to Atlanta on Matt Ryan.
That makes sense. I mean, he's been in a Super Bowl, so unlike Stafford, he's actually won something and won some games and, been in the postseason for a little while, but... At the same time, depending on what direction Atlanta's heading next year, I'm not so sure he's not just whittling away his final few years there, kind of like Stafford's doing in Detroit or was doing in Detroit. So I could see him being potentially made available. But, yeah, the quarterback carousel this offseason is going to be fascinating. I mean, I anticipate Brady, regardless of what happens on Sunday, to come back again. I don't think this is just a one-year run in Tampa. It sure doesn't feel like he's, riding out his final few games. There's no indication of that. But, yeah, there's a handful of teams that are clearly in the market for a quarterback, and the ones that you just mentioned are all in that mix. So, hey, you got Trevor Lawrence out there. He's going to be a Jaguar, barring something unforeseen. And then there's a lot of other good college quarterbacks. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to kind of see what teams do this offseason and how many go out on the limb to try to make the big move.
All right, David Culley, of course, now 3 or 4 days into his tenure with the Texans. The Lovie Smith defensive coordinator position still not official, so we're waiting on that for us to have an opportunity to talk to who we think will be the next defensive coordinator with the Texans. Got a text from him over the weekend that said, I just can't say anything right now, and that means because they're in the middle of trying to finalize that, although there were a couple of reports that, in fact, that has been official. John McClain has told me not so fast, not yet. All right, when we come back, here's what we do. 254-339-1120-22. Your thoughts. How about this? What does this mean, if anything? And I'm not saying there's an answer here. Bruce Arians is 68 years old and has retired before, correct? Andy Reid is 62. You have all these young phenom-type signal callers and all these young coaches around the NFL, and two guys that combined for 130 years old, 62 and 68, are playing for the Super Bowl. And Reid just won it last year. And Reid had to wait a long, long time. Arians has been close as well. Paul, was he on the staff with Tony Dungy when they won the Super Bowl? But as a head coach, an opportunity again. Who was the head coach of the Cardinals when they lost to Pittsburgh?
No, Arians was on the staff of the Colts, so not when they won the Super Bowl.
Okay, all right. So having a chance to win it at the age of 68. In this day and age of all the young phenoms, what does it mean? Anything to you? 254-339-1122. And Baylor basketball. What a win. What a nice, methodical second half. What is one thing about them that you haven't heard anyone else really talk about that maybe inspires you when you watch them or you like about this team that nobody says enough about? 254-339-1122, and this is SicEm365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, talked to Ted Teague earlier today. He said, man, I can't believe you guys are setting up to go to the Super Bowl. That is great news, and we will be there on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with our coverage. By the way, February, time to come by and see them. It's the President Day event going on. The J.D. Power Award, certified by J.D. Power with their vehicles on the lot. Customer First Award for excellence for their dealership at Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco. The Ram 3-peat, the Motor Trend Truck of the Year, back to back to back. Truck built to serve you, perfect for whatever your lifestyle might need. Check out the new Ram 1500, the 2500, or the big 3500, the top safety pick for trucks to be named in 2021. Impressing towing capability, heavy-duty payload capacity, blind spot monitoring, multi-function tailgate. Man, have you seen what they can do with some of these tailgates now? It's insane, just the truck, the bed and the tailgate. High-strength steel frame, adapt time, cruise control, smoothest and most comfortable ride of any truck. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, Loop 340. Tell AJ I said hi. He's one of the great salesmen in all the business. And Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man, he has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sausage, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
I think you look across the country and teams that have more experienced players and depth usually have been more successful this year, and hence why Texas and us are off to such great starts.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
254-339-1122. Your thoughts about Baylor basketball down in Austin tomorrow night against Texas. Number 2 against number 6. Shaka's back. The fans are going to be allowed about 2,500 or so. I think that's good. Don't you want a little bit of that energy? I was at the game Saturday, Baylor. I don't know how many people were there, but it was lively. I've been to a handful of them now. The crowd, you can hear them. And, of course, they I don't know if they pipe in a bunch of noise as well. But UT's been really good. Really good.
Yeah, they have. It's going to be a big game, and I don't really care about the fans being there or not. I'm sure the players will love it and love the extra energy. It'll be a little bit of a handicap, of course, but, yeah, it should make the atmosphere a lot more festive, and Texas knows it's their only chance to have Baylor at home, so they're going to, spice it up as much as they possibly can and give themselves as much of an advantage as they possibly can. And it's part of going on the road and getting a big road win. So that's what Scott Drew and the Bears will have to do.
By the way, Gil Brandt, just for a second, I just saw him post this. Back home after a month-long hospital stay, he fell and broke his leg. He's been out, really bad situation. Of course, he's gotten up in age as well. Said to be good to be outdoors and enjoying the Texas sun today. He will, I would think, not be, for the first time perhaps ever, on Radio Row. He's not going to be able to make that trip.
Well, I don't think most people are going to be on Radio Row.
Yeah, I know, but he's got a streak.
He would be stupid to go to Radio Row at his age, in my opinion. There's no need for him to be traveling, especially when he just got out of the hospital after a month. So, there's being bullheaded or there's being determined, there's being stupid. And I think Gil Brandt would be stupid to go to the Super Bowl this year. So, he needs to worry more about his health.
And so it's good that he's out of the hospital.
Yeah. No, it's great he's out of the hospital. But, stay out of the hospital and don't go back to your normal routine. And
what's he going to do for swag?
I bet you his people will FedEx it to him.
I'm sure he'll have maybe somebody planted on Radio Row just picking up samples of stuff.
Yeah,
that's a story in itself.
I bet you might get a text and be like, hey, can you pick me something up? And bring it in, which, of course, any of us would be happy to do. Gil Brandt, I'll tell you, one 10-minute conversation with Gil Brandt about one football question will change your whole perspective on things. I've been fortunate enough that he and I usually have a quick little bite together at Cowboys games so I can talk to him. And I'll always ask him. I want to make a point to ask him one thing that I want to know more about. And then in that 10 minutes, he'll tell me more about it than I could have possibly. I could spend 6 hours researching it online and watching YouTube videos or whatever and all that. In that 10 minutes, I know more about it than I ever could have. It's unbelievable.
By the way, Craig cleared something up on Bruce Arians. He was a Super Bowl champion assistant coach twice in his career. So he's been a champion. I thought I didn't know which school it was or which program or franchise it was. So he's trying to win it as the first time as a head coach. But 68-6, does that mean anything? Is that in this day and age, you've got McVay and you've got the guy Nagy. Who are all the various?
If I had to pick who I'd like to, of the people I'd like to see get a ring, it would be Bruce Arians. Because as a head coach, to prove it, and sometimes you need the X factor. Tom Brady has been there, but Bruce Arians has been an elite coach in the league as an assistant coach for a long time. It's good to see guys like that.
What does it mean that they're both in their 60s in this day and age where you're trying to find the youngin', the young phenom, the play caller, and these two guys are, you know what? They've been successful. Andy Reid, he didn't need validation, but kind of did.
It's not just about the young and hot head coach. It's about the ones who. It's about who helps build the best roster and who can stay consistent. And look, the Bucs needed a change. Mostly, with Bruce Arians, they wanted Bruce Arians initially to come in and try and fix what was wrong with Jameis Winston because he's a quarterback guru. And, he couldn't. So then they, brought in a quarterback who needs no fixing and let Bruce Arians focus on building an offense around him, which he hadn't had for the last couple of years, or the last year of his run with the Patriots. And look what's happened. So it's all about everything together, the fit and everything. So it's not just about, Sean McVay got to the Super Bowl, young and, play calling genius and all these different things, but, they haven't been back.
All right, so David Gully's 68 or whatever he is, first time he's become a head coach, and there was a lot of this, oh, my God, these are two 60-year-old guys. Now, Arians is coached as a head coach for 8 or 9 years, and, of course, we know Reid forever. So, you never know. It might be a fit in Houston, although they got a lot of work to do, of course, with the quarterback situation and the drama.
I would think that one thing that Houston fans need to know is that hiring David Culley is not about getting it, based on their circumstances. Right now, it's not about getting your team to a Super Bowl in 2021. It's just not. It's not going to happen. They've got too many problems on the roster. It's about bringing in somebody who you hope fix the culture in that locker room, help fix the culture of the organization. And it might not, David Culley can't do that alone. The ownership group has to do that too, but that's what I think that hire's about.
I think they need a new ownership more than anything. And, the sad part about it is by the time they do get this, because, unless they find a miracle way to hold on to Deshaun Watson, the thing that, those two other 60-plus-year-old coaches have is Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. So that's a little bit of a difference with not thinking that David Culley will have Deshaun Watson, obviously. So that he's a little bit behind the 8 ball there. He's also in a situation where by the time he does reform this Texans roster, how many years does J.J. Watt have left?
He may not even be with them next year.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's like, then what are you left with? If J.J. Watt's not a part of the roster, who do you have left? Because Watson will be gone. Hopkins is already gone. Like, there's nothing to really hold on to there. Your defense is average at best. Your offense, you don't even know what the offensive look is going to be because you don't even know who your quarterback is. Like, it's a disaster. And how it got to this point, I mean, I know a lot of different things occurred. Obviously, your owner dying and all that's had massive aftershocks, and Cal McNair stepping in and Easterby and all of the problems there. Just a dumpster fire. I mean, it really is. I mean, the Redskins are used to being the dumpster fire of the league, but, ever since changing their name, they kind of just had a quiet, nice season, and the Texans have sort of taken over the mantle of the dumpster fire franchise in the NFL, unfortunately. So, a lot of work to do for that crew, and man, I don't know. I'm very intrigued though by where Watson ends up, and that's what I'm waiting to see.
Yeah, that's the Rodgers thing seems to have already died down. That doesn't mean there still may not be something there, but they did a good job. The Packers nipped that in the bud pretty quickly.
Well, and the other thing about Culley being an older coach is like, yeah, Arians and Reed are too, but Reed's already won a Super Bowl. Arians has already won a couple Super Bowls. Like, they're back in the Super Bowl. Their rosters are fit to be in the Super Bowl again next year and maybe even 2 years from now because everybody's pretty much signed up. So, I mean, yeah, they're there. David Culley's starting from scratch at 60-plus with no Deshaun Watson most likely, an old J.J. Watt, and nothing else really around that's all that exciting. So, yeah, I mean, it can be done, but he's not stepping into any sort of a similar situation at all.
I wish I could remind myself of the name who wrote this is a writer, analyst, radio, whatever in Houston. But what they said is what the Texans needed was someone who could show leadership. They just needed somebody to come in and take control of the mess.
Well, it's like
and
Baylor
maybe
before,
that's the fit for him. I don't know.
Baylor before Mack Rhodes was hired had no leadership whatsoever, had a shocking lack of leadership from all of their top people and just silence, and Mack Rhodes came in and completely changed that. And so, yeah, I mean, new people can make a difference, and maybe some of these moves the Texans are making will speed up that culture change. But, man, right now it sure seems like there is a long, long road to go for them to be anywhere close to what they were the last few years.
So how does that go about? Him contacting, does he even get a chance to visit with Deshaun Watson, or is that going to go through the agent? Is that ever going to happen? Are they ever going to meet face? If he's under contract with them. But if he doesn't want to meet with them, we've seen this before where he may never even Culley may never even have an opportunity to sit down with him and talk.
Well, Deshaun Watson's probably already changed his cell phone number. I mean, if I'm the agent, I'm trying to play hardball, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the cell phone number, and that way when the new coach tries to call me, if you're committed to playing hardball, sometimes you got to do things like, look, I know this coach is going to try and sweet talk you, but we're not going to talk to him because if you want to leave and we're going to stick to this, so we're going to change your phone number. So Deshaun Watson's probably not going to have the same phone number, and Culley's going to have to go in circles to get to him, and it's going to be Deshaun Watson reaching out and saying, okay, I'll talk to you, but he's taken all mentions of the Houston Texans off of his social media.
Yep.
And
that's this day and age, and has been for years now. That's the surefire sign you've broken up with somebody. Stripping all your social media and taking the time to do that.
He's not Facebook official with them anymore.
Right,
so
yeah, I just that would be frustrating. You have a guy who's under contract who signed a new deal, but that doesn't mean anything anymore.
No,
he may never have a chance. Agent may have already said, obviously Dak. I'm sure Jerry, Jerry? Of course he can. You think Jerry or Steven, do they just pick the phone up and call Dak, or are they having to go when it comes to contract? He's done that before. We've heard players for the Cowboys say, listen, we were at a stalemate and they just called me. I think Steven did that with a player recently. Might have been DeMarcus Lawrence just picked up the phone and said, hey man, listen, we want you. And instead of all the stuff that's in between.
But that they have a good relationship with their players. You're comparing a franchise that has a good relationship with their guys and is known for treating players really, really well to a franchise that is in total flames right now. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a difference there. I think the way initially Deshaun Watson went about it, as far as like just the Twitter kind of stuff, I thought was kind of childish. But I'm just at the point age-wise where that's the norm, and I'm just too old now to get it. But,
You're
I'm fine with
34, almost 34. No, almost 37.
Yeah. So, maybe I'm just like too old now, and I'm just past the social media stuff. I just find it very childish. I find it very 13-year-old girlish to like change your profile and do all that kind of jazz. And then like the subliminal little like lines here and there that don't really say anything, but everybody reads into. I just think it's childish. But
that's what happens when girls break up with Armstrong.
Yeah.
They take his picture off their Facebook and their social media, Instagram. He's not there anymore.
Right.
It's a lot more effort to pretend he wasn't there than just to put 10 new pictures on your feed and push him back to the bottom.
Right. But having said all that, I think that Deshaun Watson has a right to be pissed, and he has a right to be upset that, clearly there's some issues with his Easterby guy, and there's some issues behind the scenes of them not, having him all in on their process like they apparently had promised that they would. And so he's got every right to be ticked off. He has a right to be ticked off. They trade away DeAndre Hopkins for basically no reason whatsoever. What was the point of that in hindsight?
But Bill O'Brien was mad at him.
Right. So, so you get rid of the best player on the team besides your quarterback, who is, A2 to Deshaun Watson's A1 basically, or 1A to 1B. And yeah, you add all that up, and he's got every right to be upset. Now, granted, he did just sign a contract, and I get that, but
who's the owner of the team?
Cal McNair.
Who's the general manager?
Now it's Nick Caserio.
Okay, Deshaun Watson holds a big stick when it comes to the Texans. And we now know that players can obviously force trades, and the less amount of players on a roster, the easier it is to do. The NBA, we see that all the time. But Deshaun Watson is a quarterback. Even though he's a franchise star, he's a quarterback. And he can be mad, he can be upset, but he has a contract. And I can understand him being angry about DeAndre Hopkins or about, what's the guy? Is it Easterby or whatever? All this guy, whatever. I get it. But, he's not the CEO. He's not the president, even if his brand is very, very important and how valuable he is. Do you even want him coming back now?
Of course you do, because you're not going to be anywhere close to as good. And here's the thing. Deshaun Watson's not some problem child guy. When has he ever, in his career at Clemson, in the NFL, have you ever heard a single bad word about Deshaun Watson? Ever.
Never.
No.
No.
The type of teammate, the type of leader, he is the perfect quarterback to have in the NFL right now. Age-wise, talent-wise, teammate-wise, everything. This is on the Texans. Now, you can argue, yeah, you signed a contract, and yes, he did sign a contract, but things have changed since he signed that contract in a major way. So it's not exactly what he signed up for to begin with. But I get it. It's a contract. At the same time, though, think about it from the standpoint of this guy was all in with you, signed this contract, is ready to be in Houston, and then you found a way, because you're so dysfunctional, to make every single move to piss him off along the way, to the point of a guy who is as all in as you can possibly be from every moment of his life, and every coach he's played for, and every team he's been on. He now wants out. That says more to me about the Texans and how dysfunctional they are than about Deshaun Watson in any single way, shape, or form.
And look, on the other side of the ball, J.J. Watt's disgruntled.
Right.
And that is the guy who is the champion of the city of Houston and everything. I mean, he's been
really good people.
Yeah.
One is a tremendous young quarterback and another guy who's possibly a Hall of Fame defensive lineman.
They're not selfish. They're not trying to force their way out of anything. The Texans did not force Deshaun Watson into the situation, but they almost kind of did in a way, because if it weren't for all of the bungling that they've done, then he's not in this position. They almost forced him into feeling this way. Do you see what I'm saying? He wasn't going to request a trade a year ago or what. It's all this stuff that's unfolded that he's just like, I'm done. I'm just done. And I know that feeling, man. And when you're done, you're done. You don't want to be somewhere anymore. You don't want to be there. And hey, once you get to that point, then you're ready to turn the page, and he's ready to turn the page. And
how hard is it that you have all these teams that beg for a quarterback, need desperately a quarterback, and then if you have one and you screw that up,
you not only have one, you have one of the best. You have one,
and he's only 20, whatever.
He's not even 25.
Yeah, and you got him because the Bears made a stupid move and drafted Trubisky instead of him. And I mean, so you've kind of lucked into this situation with Deshaun Watson, and now you don't,
He is 25 years old.
He's 25, and he just...
Well, you lucked into it. We could say that about almost anyone ever drafted, right?
Yeah.
Because they took Trubisky and not him. I get that, though, yeah.
Yeah, they did kind of luck into him because if he gets picked, then who are the Texans picking? Are they sitting there with Mitch Trubisky and then already moving on right now anyway? So, it kind of almost went to the way...
The Cowboys lucky they got Dak in the 4th round.
Yeah,
absolutely they were.
Well, they turned him down 3 times, too.
Well, and here's the thing. The Cowboys are lucky that other teams saved them from themselves, and Paxton Lynch and Connor Cook and every other busted hump quarterback that could have come through the door. Look, Paxton Lynch got drafted and cried in a Wingstop. You should only cry in a Wingstop if you get hot sauce in your eye. Yeah. That to me told me, oh man, you're too... You got to be...
Are you saying that men can't have emotions?
Not in a Wingstop. No.
In a restaurant?
Look, here's the thing.
Were they late with the food?
I understand this might be kind of a Colin Cowherd-esque hot take, but for this particular thing, it holds up. And I want my quarterback, honestly, when he gets picked, to be like, yeah, you're damn right. I want my quarterback, when Aaron Rodgers didn't get picked and the Packers took him, he was like, yep, watch out. Here I come. Not like, oh my God, I can't believe this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now Lynch is out of the
league. Can we get
some
more blue cheese over here, please?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very interested, like I said earlier, to see where he lands. And I know the Texans will do everything that they possibly can to try and keep him in the fold, but it sure seems like he's already both feet out the door.
By the way, from JT and Pikes Peak, great to hear from JT again. Here's hoping the Texans treat Drew Lock better.
Yeah. That's where they're headed. The Broncos are certainly a team that could get in on Deshaun Watson, and a team I mentioned last week in the top 5 that's a great fit for him.
You're a franchise that has had how many? They had Schaub and they had Carr, and that didn't work. It was okay. But they've been
they've never done anything though.
No,
they've been around for 20 years.
They've been in the playoffs.
They've never really done it, but they've not won anything.
If you want,
this goes back to the division title thing. If you want to we won 4 divisions or whatever the number is.
Well, they're 20 years old, and that's no longer an excuse because teams do. Carolina and Jacksonville got to a championship game in year 2, but of course their roster was set up a little bit different.
Yeah, and look, great moments in Houston Texans history would not fill up a coffee table book right now. It really wouldn't, because you'd kind of have to stretch because.
They're 20 years old, though.
Yeah, but it's still in that 20 years. What great thing has really happened to them? We overuse that word.
They've had some misses. They might have as many playoff wins in the last 20 years as the Cowboys do.
Yeah, look,
maybe they don't. I don't know.
Just saying what? Just saying nothing.
Great Cowboys moment since 1997 is even crappier book. Yeah. But
it really is.
Yeah. All right, we got Myron Metcalf of ESPN, national basketball writer. He was in the post-game Zoom session with Baylor basketball after the win Saturday against Auburn. Also at 5:10, Argyle quarterback C.J. Rogers. What a story about him. Transferred. He was a basketball guy. He's tied in a way with a story with L.J. Cryer that maybe you don't know about and maybe you do. You'll hear all that at 5:10 today. And then also LaTroy Hawkins, who's the godfather of Patrick Mahomes. He will join us today, a longtime Major League pitcher, now an advisor for the Minnesota Twins, will join us at 5:35. And this is Sic'em365 Radio. Ideal MRI, what about it? It's amazing. Ideal MRI in the Central Texas marketplace can help save you hundreds and possibly thousands of dollars when it comes to getting an MRI. Why do you need an MRI? Something hurts. Something's painful. Something hurts enough to where you don't sleep. You can't function. It's kind of like having everything, an earache, a toothache, and a migraine all at the same time. And then, oh, by the way, it means perhaps something is torn, a muscle, a ligament, or who knows how much else. So what happens when you need, or a doctor says to you, we need to get that looked at, we need to get an MRI? First thing you do to them is this. I want to use Ideal MRI. Why? The average MRI is somewhere around $1,100. That's the average, so some could be less, and then some could be $1,500 or even much higher than that, maybe $2,000. Ideal MRI is $497 every single time, and maybe less, and they'll help you with insurance when you need that or have that available as well. So why not? Save yourself money. Also, you won't have the long wait at a hospital. They give you an appointment for 9, and maybe by 10:30 you might get in. And when you do go to MRI, Ideal MRI, and get your picture of whatever's hurting, they will call you that evening or very soon and explain everything they see and pass it along to your orthopedic surgeon or doctor who needs to see it. It's that simple. Dr. Rob Maxey called me the night I had my MRI and explained everything to me. IdealMRI.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricUSA.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's time to be brutally honest with yourself. Look in the mirror or weigh yourself. Do you weigh as much, more, or less than you did before the holidays or a year ago? Why not start the year in better shape than how you ended it and create momentum for 2021 and help strip the negative vibes, tension, pressure, and extra pounds from the crazy of 2020? It's time right now to join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. It's so much more than a gym, including world-class tennis courts, lessons available with pros, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, personal training to get you over the hump. I promise you'll look better and feel better than ever before. Just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Court. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp, spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation, a tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So make this your best and healthiest year ever. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
All right, we're waiting to hear from Myron Metcalf of ESPN. got a number. Well, I just tried to call you. Let's see. To call you. All right, let's see what happens if you'll call Paul back. Now, a couple of other notes from the weekend. I mentioned Gonzaga, Baylor 1-2, Villanova, Michigan 3-4, 5 is Houston. Texas and Oklahoma 6-9. How about that, huh? Mm-hmm. And Texas Tech, West Virginia. Texas Tech has a game tonight. Is it against maybe Oklahoma? Can't be Oklahoma, is it? But that's a game tonight in the conference. J.D. Richards, a finalist for the Naismith Lieberman Award for the best point guard in college basketball, which is something she's doing a lot more of. Of course, you sometimes forget she had that collision.
Yeah, you do. It's an incredible comeback story for Dee, and she's really adjusted well to returning and to getting back on her feet into the point guard spot. So it was a big win for the Lady Bears, getting a little bit of revenge against Iowa State, and good for her. The more the merrier. A lot of men and women in the basketball programs getting those types of watch list honors and things like that right now. So that's fantastic news for her. And I'm trying to find the Texas Tech game for tonight. They play Oklahoma tonight at 8 o'clock.
Boy, that's a great one. And Oklahoma on this tremendous run from 23rd in the country to number 9 after beating 3 teams ranked in the top 10 in 1 week, basically within a week in 8 days or so. That's crazy good. That's really, really good. Last night, yesterday afternoon, the Lady Bears went to Ames. Kind of fell behind early. Iowa State eventually calmed down a little bit with their outside shooting. Baylor got better. We'll hear from Kim Mulkey on losing and how much that might have eaten at her since the loss to Iowa State just 2 weeks ago, or even to end last year before everything was shut down. And she gave me an answer that perhaps you might not have heard before, which sometimes you take for granted. They don't lose much, but when they do, because we had Taya Cooper in the studio Friday. What did she say, Craig? That she had been eating at her since the game a year ago.
Yeah.
Or back in March or so.
No, she doesn't take kindly to losses, not something she enjoys doing. And, I felt pretty good about their chance to rebound against Iowa State as a result of dropping that first one, and sure enough, they did. Myron
Metcalf of ESPN, Metcalf by ESPN on Twitter, joins us on Sic'em365 Radio. I love this tweet, Myron. When Baylor decides to hit the button, they embarrass you. Next level separation. They can shut down your best player, disrupt everything you hope to do. It seems like they wait for a moment, and then you're down 10 or 12.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like racing Usain Bolt, Like you're there for about 70 meters, you're still in the race, but that final 30, they turn it on in a way that's just hard to match. I mean, there's only one team in America that I think that might have a chance to match that, and that's Gonzaga, because I just don't know how you keep up with this Baylor team. I mean, they're doing this to really good teams, and just the way they can just shut down everything you want to do is just remarkable.
Bruce Pearl made a comment that they don't run great offense, but do they have to run a lot of complex sets with the talent that they have?
No, because they got a lot of smart players. They're efficient, and I think Baylor's greatest thing is that they take a lot of smart shots. Like you rarely see them sort of out of sync and out of a rhythm. And then on top of it, they're the nation's best three-point shooting team. So, when you know that you can hit threes the way that they can, and they're making 43% of the threes, you understand that all you got to do is keep it simple, find your shots, take good shots, and everything else will take care of itself. So, I mean, they are just an impossible task for any team in America outside of maybe Gonzaga, just because they're good everywhere and they're so efficient.
They've got a big one coming up tomorrow night that will be a big measuring stick game for both programs. Myron, what have you noticed from Texas in their climb to number 6?
Texas is a good team. I think Shaka has responded to a lot of the noise around him, and he's got one of the better defensive teams in America. He's got a group that's got, much like Baylor, a bunch of trustworthy veterans. Andrew Jones, Courtney Ramey's been hurt, obviously, Matt Coleman, but that's sort of been the anchor of that group. Jericho Sims has been important. And then he's got the young guys, Greg Brown and Kai Jones, who both of those guys are NBA prospects. So he's just found a way to put that all together. and they've been in every single game. I mean, the remarkable thing about Texas is no one's really pulled away from them. That Villanova game was down to the final minute, and Villanova just made a few extra plays late. That Texas Tech game could have gone either way in mid-January. And then last week against Oklahoma, that's a 1-point game, and Texas has a chance to win. So I think that's, to me, the greatest testament to what Shaka Smart has done is they play some good teams, and even their losses, they've been a play or two away from winning.
Myron, when you were on the game, post-game presser, media session, Zoom, whatever you want to call it, Scott Drew asked you about what was the weather like in Minnesota. You've covered college basketball and athletics, sports for a long, long time. What is it about him? Because, everyone, I think now that he's being even more consistent than ever before. He has never changed who he is. A lot of people, we've even had writers who said 10, 12, 15 years ago, they kind of, But now he wins consistently, and he wins now without one and dones. What about his relationship and how people now realize this guy is for real?
Yeah, I mean, I've never understood why people haven't been willing to give him credit. Like, you could honestly make the case. I mean, that Scott Drew inherited the worst possible situation in college basketball history. Now, people have inherited losing teams. They've inherited teams that face violations. They've inherited all kinds of things. But, like, what he inherited at Baylor and what he was charged with fixing is unlike anything we've ever seen. I mean, that 2006 season, they're not allowed to play non-conference games. Mm-hmm. Like, who's ever had anything like that? Who's ever faced a 4-13 season? And then the following year, already he's right back in the mix on the rise. So I think Scott Drew is one of those guys who, for whatever reason, he doesn't have that big run. People don't want to give him credit. But you can make the case in the last 2 years, Scott Drew's been the best coach in America if you judge that by the product he's put on the floor. And I think making that big run this year, winning the national championship, getting to the Final Four would give him a lot of credibility in the eyes of those doubters. But those doubters shouldn't exist because Scott Drew is one of the best in the game.
It's also, he stepped into a program that didn't have huge expectations for a men's basketball team, and they'd spent, 4 weeks ranked before he even got here in their whole history. So not only did he didn't have a whole long way to build it to where the school would have been content. He's far surpassed even that. Yeah. And
Baylor's one of those places where, like you said, 15 years ago, who thinks that this is a place that would be on the map? And then here they are, competing for national championships, right there in the mix, competing for some of the best players in America. And I think that, to me, is the testament of what Scott Drew has been able to do. I mean, Texas in general, the whole state is just full of basketball goodness, man. Just so many talented players at the high school and grassroots level, so many great programs throughout that state. And they've all just been able to rise over the last decade or so. And, yeah, that's still a football state, as you all know better than me. But they're getting a lot of credibility on the basketball circuit, too. People understand that in the state of Texas, man, you got to be able to ball because there's no easy outing anywhere. But Baylor's at the top of that pile in terms of the toughest teams that you have to go through.
Myron, when we're talking about this Baylor team with, amongst ourselves or with guests, there's any number of guys that you could bring up, whether it's a young guy like an Adam Flagler or it's a Vital or it's a Butler or it's a Meyer. Is there a particular guy on this team that you enjoy watching the most or appreciate their game the most?
Mark Vital is the dude that you look across, I think, the court, and you're like, that dude's going to be a problem. Okay. Like, that dude's going to go after every rebound. He's going to try to block every shot. He's going to try to guard everybody on the floor. Like, he's just going to be a problem. And you need that dude. You need that kind of guy on your roster. And I think, to me, Mark Vital is the culture and the attitude of that program. Like, he's the guy who I think kind of sets the tone in a lot of ways. And anytime you got a dude like Jared Butler, that just gives you the confidence because you're just not going to go into many games where Jared Butler isn't the best player on the floor. There are a couple teams you might play, and that's not the case, but it ain't many. So that combined with just the attitude you get from Mark Vital and just so much talent. Everyone's talking about Matthew Mayer and what he did and the tip dunk. That guy's a starter at a lot of places throughout the country. Right. And he's maybe the 8th guy on this team. And that just tells you about the depth that they have in Waco.
You mentioned how you rarely see them out of rhythm, and some points they can be. And then you mentioned Jared Butler, and that's the first person I thought about, because in that game against Auburn, with their length, how angular and athletic they were, there were times when he normally would have had a shot because of his quick release, but he didn't take it. He didn't feel comfortable. He understood his moments will come. Is that one of the examples you're talking about as well?
Yeah, smart shots. I mean, he's not a guy who's going to force it. He's a guy who understands, let's get the best shot. I think that's what Baylor is. I don't think Baylor is a team that says, let's put the ball in the hands of our best player. I think they're a team that says, let's get the best shot. And they played a team in Auburn that was saying, put the ball in the hands of our best player, Sharif Cooper, and Sharif goes 6 for 17. And that's a guy who's going to be a first-round pick. I mean, that's a guy who was destroying America, and he plays Baylor, and he's not the same guy. And I think if you ask Jared Butler, you didn't play great. I think he goes 6 for 18, but you look across the court, and Sharif Cooper is 6 for 17. I think he's happy with that, knowing that they stopped the best guy across the floor and they got the win. I mean, that's a double-digit win against an Auburn team that looked really, really good ever since Sharif Cooper became eligible. Mm-hmm. And they just sort of toyed with him at the end, and they did what they do to everybody, and they separated late.
Other than Texas, do you see somebody in the conference being a problem for Baylor?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to – I always hate to hit the exit button on Kansas, but this isn't the same Kansas team. I don't know what their deal is, but, they might be the 7th best team in the league. I still think there's hope for Texas Tech and what they've been able to do. They've lost a lot of close games, but beating a team like LSU the way they did, that just showcased their potential. But this Oklahoma team is fascinating. And Lon Kruger, I mean, if Scott Drew is the most underrated guy in the league, Lon Kruger is number 2. I mean, Lon Kruger has done it everywhere. He is just consistent. He had Trae Young. They had a good team, got to the tournament. He loses Trae Young and a bunch of guys. They still get to the tournament. He can coach. And I think now that he's knocked off Kansas, Texas, and Alabama, people are starting to notice. So I think Oklahoma is that sneaky team in the Big 12 where you're looking at them and going, you know what? That might be Baylor's toughest game, even though it may not look like it on paper.
Your thoughts about what they're going to do with the tournament in Indianapolis, put everybody up there. Some will go straight from the conference tournaments, whatever they win or lose, whatever, and go straight into Indianapolis. Your thoughts about that and how they're going to try to get this tournament in this year?
Yeah, I think what could be affected is just conference tournaments. I don't know that we'll have all of them. Mm-hmm. I just think there will be some leagues that think it's too risky. And even if the leagues don't think it's too risky, I think there will be some teams that think it's too risky. If you think you're a 1 or 2 seed and you just want to buckle down on campus and then fly straight to Indy on Monday, that might happen, I think, around the country. Even though everyone's saying that everyone's getting the green light about conference tournaments so far, that could change over the next month. I guarantee we'll have a tournament. I mean, I guarantee that will happen. I still don't know the plan if there is a positive test. Do you remove the entire team, just the player? How do you do that? But I think once we get into the bubble, I think things will run smoothly, but it's getting there that's the greatest challenge.
Yeah, Myron, I agree with you. I don't know what the benefit to Baylor, Gonzaga, Iowa, all like schools like Texas, what that would be to go to the conference tournament at all, especially if their records stay consistent with what they are now.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Baylor and you got that 1 seed and you're locked into that 116 game, I mean, maybe you say, you know what? We're just going to go straight to Indianapolis. We don't want to do anything else. And I think you'll see multiple teams do that just because it's not necessarily worth it for them to do anything before going to the Indianapolis for the tournament.
Myron, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. As Scott Drew said, get out of that snow or what was it, icy rain or whatever it was up there. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It's about 28 degrees. That's summer up here.
Oh, my God. Wow, yeah. Hell, it was 36 this morning here.
Hey, yeah. Two years ago, we had you on to the show when we were at the other place, when we were at the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and I remember thinking, this is a frozen hellscape that I need to get out because I'm too Texan. So.
People are jogging out here, man, in that weather. They love it.
Thank you, Myron. As always, appreciate your time. College basketball senior writer for ESPN, Myron Metcalf. He's the one that made the comment in many ways about this team, Baylor, and how they seem to be so unselfish, and they are. And that's now no secret. It hasn't been. But, man, I just saw, as I'm watching the game, and the first thing I thought about that game was how angular, how lengthy, how quick and athletic Auburn. Like, it seemed as if they have 9 guys that are 6'6", 6'7", and can all jump, right? And then the lefty who could shoot the threes is amazing. Sharif Cooper was good. He was good.
Yeah, they clearly went in shutting him down.
But they made him look like a freshman.
Yeah,
they did. They made him look like a freshman, and that was the key. It's like he's going to make plays, but if you can make him look like a freshman for the majority of the game, then they can't do what they want to do and what he had done for the 6 games since he'd been in.
How good was John Jacobs with our scouting report, though? He said they're going to try to do the baseline lobs, and you could see Baylor sagging, knowing that there was that. Even sometimes they were still so athletic they were able to do something about it. It's every game.
But they wait, and it's almost because I asked Scott Drew this in the post game, and I didn't want to use the term halftime adjustments, but it's like when they get in halftime and they can sit and talk to each other just as a team. They go, okay, this is what this guy does. Let's pounce. And that's what they do.
Before they even have to hear from the coaches, they're coaching themselves.
There are like Scott Drew, used to be, and he still does. I mean, that's his nature. But there were teams that he had that were good, but he would coach from minute 1 to minute 40, just like he was always, because maybe those teams didn't have the same basketball IQ, and he was trying to, kind of play a loud game of chess out there where he's like, go over here, this and this and this. And now you watch him and he's like, the information is a lot shorter, and like he's just there doing his thing, but he's not. It doesn't look to me like he's coaching like he did in some of those teams where afterwards I wondered, like, does he have enough water? Did they get him hydrated? Because it was like he was running up and down the floor with
We've had coaches say, though, he doesn't stop all the way up until
he's not.
He's never going to stop.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I do. He's got guys who can coach themselves or others on the team, and there are no like egos where some guy's going to turn around and bust off or say something or sulk. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
at least so far.
And he's had a couple guys that were, I'm not going to mention names, but stars in the team that he's had drama with where they, got mad because of their role and left for a day or two, and he's had to deal with that. And, he's had those things in the past on good teams and teams that went deep into the NCAA tournament or into the NCAA tournament. This team has no drama. None.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see what happens because I know that I hear that word unbeaten. I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm not of the belief. I've never been one of those that feels like you feel pressure if you're 30-0 and you go into the tournament, whatever it's going to be, 26-0. There's too many teams in this Big 12 conference. If they, in fact, do run this season, this conference, and they run the table, and tomorrow night's going to be really dicey. If they do, that's insane. It's insane, but that's because they're so close and so talented.
Yeah, and that word if is a big if. I think they have an incredible opportunity, but I think they need to focus on doing some things they've never done before. How about go winning a Big 12 championship?
Never done it, yep.
How about winning a championship? That would be a nice little banner to hang in the Farrell Center, and it's highly unlikely that you ever have more of an opportunity than you have right now.
Yeah.
Scott Drew might have teams that are as good, but is Kansas going to be down? Is everybody going to be like a level below you, like right out of the gates? Probably not ever as good of a situation as they have now. And they've got obviously there's like top 10 teams surrounding them. They've got one tomorrow night. They just beat one the other day who's now a top 10 team. So it's not like the Big 12's like not competitive all of a sudden, but the team that has run things is down. And somebody's got to take advantage of it, and this is clearly the best team in the Big 12 at this moment. We'll see more tomorrow night, but I think regardless of tomorrow night, I still think they're the best team in the Big 12. And, go out and win a title and then start talking about undefeateds and national championships and a Gonzaga game. Go win a Big 12 title first.
Well, tomorrow night, if they can win in Austin, they'll be 9-0. Texas will be 5-3. West Virginia 4-3. Oklahoma playing tonight right now is 6-3. They could be 7-3 or 6-4. They would still be 3 games, maybe 4 games behind you.
I just feel like there's, in the grand ambition that you may have, there's like goals you forget about in between because you get hooked onto like the final mission that you got, and that's all well and good. But man, that's a really long time from now. Like so many different things could happen between now and March Madness, and priority number 1 has to be beating Texas tomorrow night. You have a 3-game lead in the conference. Barring some completely unforeseen collapse, you're a Big 12 regular season champion.
Beat Texas tomorrow night and then step on everyone's neck.
Yeah, I mean, basically, how about not just winning the conference, which would be great because you've never done that before, but winning it with authority and going into the postseason with a lot of momentum. I mean, they have all of this out in front of them, and it is, kind of like our Bucks guest earlier or whatever. It's like, yeah, we as the media talk about these things. I'm sure they're not talking about like the tournament already and doing all that. They know what's in front of them, so just keep doing what they're doing and take one goal at a time. And if you add up those goals that are right there in front of you, then eventually that last one that everybody wants to talk about right now already, then we can talk about that one.
In fact, if you look at Baylor's record, they still have to play at Kansas, right? They have a game at Oklahoma. They still have to play Texas Tech at home, both games against West Virginia, both games against Texas. Now, no one wants to look down the road, but that's still the case. There are still numerous top 5, 10, or 15, 20, 25 top-ranked teams that you have on your schedule. The most important game is always the next one. This gets boring. It is so true. Imagine if you could build a 3-game lead with like 9 games left in the season.
And when they see OSU again, Cade Cunningham probably won't have
COVID. You're right. All right, at 5'10", C.J. Rogers, Argyle quarterback, preferred walk-on. I think it's the first time that I've ever contacted somebody who's going to be a preferred walk-on. Other than a quarterback, the young man who played at Mount Pleasant High School, who had lineage at Texas. And I remember interviewing him. But it's the first time because we can't even get to all those who commit and sign, much less who play for Baylor. But this story about C.J. Rogers at Argyle is pretty unique, so we'll have that today at 5:10. We'll come back with a few more notes about sports, what's going on with the NFL, the Super Bowl, a couple of things about even odds and Vegas and the Super Bowl, all of that. And then also at 5:35, LaTroy Hawkins of the Minnesota Twins. He's an advisor, longtime baseball pitcher, major league pitcher, and the godfather of Patrick Mahomes. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Impact Health Labs, founded by 3 ex-military medical professionals. COVID-19 is part of our lives. You're going to need mass COVID testing for your company at some point, more than likely. Even with vaccines, we're still looking at this being a huge part of our lives for most of 2021. So what do you do? How do you do it? What's the easiest, most convenient, simplest, low-cost way to do it? Well, that's what Impact Health Labs does. Go to impacthealthlabs.com, and you can get your company mass COVID tested. Schedule it. The Impact Health Labs comes to you. They perform all the tests, and it's the PCR test, the most effective test. The Q-tip in the brain test, the one that everybody needs if you really want to know if you've got it. And then you get the results back within 24 hours. What's the cost? They take most major forms of insurance, so out of pocket, very, very low to you and your employees or your church or your dorm or your sports league, whatever you need to do. They can do those tests for you and get them back within 24 hours. So remember this website, impacthealthlabs.com. That's impacthealthlabs.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
Here we go. Nothing like having a piece of pizza in my mouth, huh? Marco's Pizza. Paul? Marco's Pizza with locations China Spring, Belmead, and Woodway are presenting sponsor of Super Bowl 55 coverage starting Wednesday in Tampa. First guest off the show Wednesday will be Randy White. He's been with us before. Mark Schlereth, Randy Grimes, those are just some of them. Plus, of course, we'll have plenty of others to bring your way starting Wednesday with Super Bowl 55 coverage. Rob Douster, remember him? Field of 58. He put this up on Twitter. Baylor is top 5 nationally in three-point shooting, offensive rebounding percentage, and defensive turnover rate. I'm going to go out on the limb, he said, and say that combination of things is A, quite uncommon, and pretty much the dream scenario for building an awesome team.
Yeah, I think so.
Shoot the ball well, top five out of 300 in some schools. Offensive rebounding percentage, which maybe are the long rebounds. And then also the turnover rate. They did pretty well in that game, with considering Auburn plays very much like to play up tempo.
Well, early on, Auburn was out-rebounding them for
badly.
a while.
It was 18-8.
Yeah, it was out-rebounding them, and that's why it was keeping Auburn in the game, and they were getting a lot of second-chance shots. But eventually, Baylor turns it around. This is, a lot of times you watch Baylor basketball and you white-knuckle the whole thing through because you're like, oh, my gosh. But this team, you just know that they've got a big run. They had teams in the past that they would win games without having a run of like 8-0. Like it would just be back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And they kind of played ping pong basketball where it was just back and forth and back and forth. And then, you get 2 baskets at the end, you win by 5. That was big win. This team, and that was even the team last year that was really good all year long. This team will go on a gigantic run and you'll be down by 19 points for a good stretch of the game. Maybe you only lose by 12 or 13, but the bottom line is they put it to where, there was times against, who was it the other day that was the
Kansas
good team they played? Kansas, no. But I mean, against Oklahoma State where they got up to like 23.
Yeah.
And that game was close for a while.
Mm-hmm. Couple of notes on the Super Bowl, then we break and come back with C.J. Rogers, and then also 254-339-1122. The Chiefs. How about this? We have seen the Patriots win so many times, you think, it's easy for them, right? But it's been 13 years since somebody in the – no, excuse me. It's been 17 years since somebody in the NFL won back-to-back Super Bowls. So nearly 2 decades, and the last team to do it was New England. And Chiefs are trying to win back-to-back. We're kind of going to win back-to-back titles. Hasn't happened since 03-04. Andy Reid, if he wins this Super Bowl at the age of 62, becomes the oldest head coach to win back-to-back championships, passing Vince Lombardi and Joe Gibbs. Also, Patrick Mahomes would become the youngest starting quarterback to win multiple Super Bowls at the age of 25, joining Tom Brady as the only starting quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl in 2 of their first 4 years in a career. Here's a note about Bruce Arians. I talked about his age. He would win the Super Bowl at the age of 68, would become the oldest head coach to ever win a Super Bowl. Bill Belichick, 2 years ago, was actually 66. I don't ever think of Belichick being that old, but he's been around forever. So there's that as well. Just some notes about Super Bowl 55. We'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday when we come. Another note about the Chiefs and Buccaneers. We heard the note about the Chiefs with Robinson, right, the receiver, and the backup center. Teams and coaches will be tested twice daily before the game, leading up to the game on Sunday. Players will receive a PCR test in the morning, a rapid PCR test later on that afternoon. So not only do they have to test every day protocol now, they have to test twice on Sunday.
Yeah, every day. I guess that's the motto. Every day and twice on Sunday for the testing.
Yes, that sounds like something.
But, yeah, they got to be sure. And look, the NFL, they're prepared to postpone the game a week, I think.
That would be a bummer. But the NFL has now administered 954,000 tests. The initial cost, more than $100 million, is how much they've spent throughout the process. Well, if they've given a million tests, wouldn't
it
be
$10 a test, right?
I would think it would be, $100 million. Okay. All right, when we come back, Argyle quarterback C.J. Rogers, a couple of other notes. Did you know that somebody bet $2.3 million on Tampa Bay to cover?
Must be nice to have that kind of money that you can just lose.
3.5-point underdogs, right? Tampa Bay, if that $2.3 million wager, if they lose the game but they cover, he would net $2 million.
Yeah. And so if they lose the game and don't cover,
you lose $2.3 million, right? Golly. All right, when we come back, C.J. Rogers and more, SicEm365 Radio, LaTroy Hawkins at 5:35. We're back in a moment.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, a hidden gem in Waco, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. Craft beer like you would not believe, always rotated out seasonally. Just if you go to their website and just look, they have lines and lines and lines of the different kinds of craft beer that they bring in and change out throughout the year. They always have the latest Balcones in stock. They always have just new and different things that they rotate through. So it's not, they're going to have different things you can try. They have a fantastic selection of wine as well, and they've just got experts all over the place that can help you find something if you're looking for something in particular, plus the convenient drive-through window and the safe, clean in-store location. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Start the new year with a new Ram truck from Allen Samuels. Ram's impressive towing capability, heavy-duty payload capacity, and smooth ride have earned Ram the Motor Trend Truck of the Year yet again. That's 3 years in a row. Check out the new 2021 Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with up to $7,250 in total value. Or take advantage of 0% for 60 or 2.9% for 72 and get $3,000 in rebates. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. Shop now at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
That's a 3. Got it.
Time out.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers. Staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, a couple of things, and then we'll come back. We have to make up for a break. Washington Wizards, they trailed, I guess this was last night, by 5 points with less than 10 seconds left in the game and won. You know, the way they can call timeout, get the ball at half court, whatever it is, or even in the front court. So they trailed by 5 with less than 10 seconds left and won the game. In the last 25 years, the team that trailed by 5 with less than 10 seconds left has won 9 games and lost 23,498 times.
Yikes.
So 9 out of 2,500 plus. That's ridiculous, but trailing by 5 plus in the final 10 seconds. However, here's what's crazy. It's the second straight day this comeback occurred because Portland did it against Chicago on Saturday.
Huh. Weird.
So 9, it was 7 wins out of 2,400 or 2,300, 500 opportunities. Right now you have back-to-back nights.
Yeah, and like to win, you have to, like, some very specific things have to happen. I mean,
you have to score.
You have to hit
first.
2 threes.
Yeah,
like, you have to hit 2 threes.
Teams have to miss free throws or turn it over.
Well, it's good to see Russell Westbrook get, a win over James Harden and the Nets to, they've been on a good run, but not able to finish that one off, which, I'm not sure if that'll come back to haunt them or not, but I did find it interesting that the Nets have, had their little win streak going, and in the time since James, I saw a stat earlier, and I don't know where I didn't bookmark it, so I can't find it now. But since James Harden's joined the franchise, basically they become like all-time bad in defense and all-time great in offense. Legitimately, like they are on pace to be one of the worst defenses of all time, and they are on pace to be one of the greatest offenses of all time.
Which is why teams don't win with James Harden. Eventually,
they win. They just
don't win with Russell Westbrook. They haven't won because it's not
you don't
Kevin
win the
Durant.
title because eventually somebody's got to stop the other team from scoring.
Women's volleyball, Baylor, remember we had Ryan McGuire on. They had that great run this year. They played, 13 games or so, whatever their record was, 13-3 in the league. And we said, okay, what's next? Well, they're going to have 10 non-conference games. And I think they start back up in late February. And they'll have people who can come watch them as well. That's all to be determined. So that they will resume or finish out so they can get warmed up for the tournament whenever that time might come. John Rothstein had this quote back. This was a long time ago. I can't remember the date. It was back in October. Several Big 12 coaches believe that Texas has the league's most talented roster from top to bottom. Longhorns return 100% of their scoring and add Greg Brown. Well, they've proven that to be, whether they're the most talented or not.
I think they
How
might
many
be
times have we ever heard anything about UT with? I think they're good. I mean, tomorrow night's not going to be easy. You never know. It's going to be really a hard game. They might win. But it seems like we hear that a lot with anything they have. Mm-hmm. The most talented football team, the most talented, and it just doesn't always translate to success. But this year, right now, Shaka Smart's got himself a really good basketball team.
Yeah, talent won championships, and that was all there simply was saying that somebody has talent, then Texas would have a lot more trophies than they do, and so would a lot of other programs. I mean, the talent, you have to have it, but, when that's like your talking point over and over, they're so talented. They're so talented. I mean, that's all you can really say is, it becomes problematic.
That's a killer word sometimes.
I did see, too, Baylor softball announced their seating plans for this year, and it looks like if you're looking to go to some Baylor softball games, you're going to have to kind of get in a line of some sort because they're not going to be dishing out very many tickets based on what I saw, and it's going to be more reserved for
David Haynes. He will also be the assistant AD for Marlin ISD as well. Also, the
hey, here we go. No single or season tickets for 2021 softball will be sold in compliance with local state guidelines. Home and visitor student athletes will receive a limited number of comp tickets. Capacity at Getterman is restricted to a total allotment of 300. So Baylor students will be admitted first come, first served basis. The number of student tickets is expected to be approximately 50 or less. So, yeah, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get out to a ball game.
It's such a nice little ballpark.
This season if you're hoping to go to some.
All right, Don Hyde had this over the weekend. C.J. Rogers made the comment about he's going to be a preferred walk-on at Baylor. He's got a long way to go. Hey, there's 5 other guys right now that are in front of him, right? So Don Hyde said, best of luck, young man. He's the head coach at La Vega. Coach Bell gave me a call talking about Sean Bell, called the La Vega head coach. I told him you were an incredible player and a lock to be a phenomenal college quarterback. Can't wait to see your future play out at Baylor University. When we come back, Argyle's quarterback, C.J. Rogers. You have Zeno and Bohannon. You have Chapin. Is it Bass in the depth chart? Of course, obviously, the young man Kyron Drones as well. Major part of that quarterback depth chart, the young man from Shadow Creek. But you never know. You hear stories. This guy has a great senior year at Argyle High School, and Argyle state championship quarterback C.J. Rogers next on SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They've got the New Year, New Deal Savings event going on right now, and that means that you can save thousands on a variety of new and pre-owned vehicles. 2021's here. They've had sales going on all throughout 2020, but they're kicking off the new year with a big start. Right now, you can get big haul power, first-class comfort and ride, and unbeatable technology with the GMC Sierra. Right now, Sierra, which is the best truck on the road, can be bought, and you can save $8,500 on the 2021 GMC Sierra SLE Crew Cab trucks. Maybe you're looking for a top-of-the-line mid-size SUV. Richard Carr's offering $6,250 off of 2021 GMC Terrains. You can save $4,500 off on the stylish, intelligent, and nimble 2021 Buick Encore GX, which includes on-the-go Alexa technology. And during the New Year, New Ride Savings event, as I mentioned, all pre-owned cars and trucks are priced to move with amazing deals all over the lot, including cars and SUVs for under $137 a month for qualified buyers. And if your credit stinks like 2020 did, well, it's 2021 now. It's a new year, and 100% credit approval is their goal. So bring your tax refund or your stimulus check to Richard Carr, and they'll stimulate your stimulus with even bigger savings that will pay off for years. Go to Richard Carr Motors today for details and a test drive, or
Log on to richardcar.com now and have them bring the test drive to you. Make 2021 the best year ever, starting with a new car or truck during the New Year New Ride Savings event at Richard Car.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
C.J. Rogers, quarterback at Argyle, who has become a preferred walk-on for Baylor football, made the decision last week. Will be on campus sometime at the end of the spring, early summer. CJ joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Let me start with this. You put up huge numbers, won a state championship, played for a tradition-rich program, and yet, there were opportunities for you, but not really what you thought you earned or deserved as far as scholarship offers. Do you have a chip on your shoulder?
Yes, sir. I definitely do, given with all the circumstances I have right now.
What is that chip like? And obviously, you're not the only senior football player or athlete that didn't get a chance to have the camps, the visits, things like that, or even have coaches come watch you play. So, what is that chip like for you?
I think it drives me in everything I do to get better and push myself to be the best I can be, and I know I can continue to prove people wrong.
You've done that before, though, haven't you? You've proven people wrong before. I want to take you to something you don't even think is it's not even football related. You're playing at a basketball tournament in Las Vegas. You're on L.J. Cryer's basketball team. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
L.J. Cryer, who, of course, is now one of the players on the number 2 ranked team in the country at Baylor. So you're in Las Vegas, and L.J. gets himself sideways with an official. He's gone. He is, if you don't mind me saying, supposedly the star of the team, right?
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
I mean, L.J. is a baller, and everybody knows that. And the other team was trying to get in his head and stuff, and so he had to sit out. And then I had to play point that game, and I guess we could just say we won the game.
You scored how many points? 31?
It was something like that. I don't know.
And you took over for a young man that's obviously a national name with LJ, what he did in high school, at tournaments, and all the club stuff, AAU stuff. So you've done this before. You also, which I did, again, we're not even getting into football yet, you have played varsity basketball as a freshman at Tomball High School before you moved to Argyle. When did basketball get in your blood so deep?
Just ever since I was a little kid, in elementary school. I'd always play basketball, and I love playing it.
So how did a young man who started as a freshman at a big school in Houston, outside of Houston, who was in Vegas, who took over for an All-American type recruit and scored 31 points to help lead the team to a championship, how do you end up in football?
I played football growing up along with basketball, and then I didn't play after 8th grade, but I always loved it. And I think moving up to Argyle and just seeing the whole culture with the football program, it just made me realize what I'm missing out on, and I needed to get back into it.
But you've also been kind of rambunctious. Your father told me that when you were younger, you'd go tackle lamps, pillowcases, or pillows, couches, siblings, parents. Give me a little idea about you using everything inside the house as some sort of maybe a game.
I was just a hyper little kid, I guess. But I guess that's also kind of part of my game. I'm always wanting to go do something energetic.
Did you play basketball with that same kind of reckless abandon?
Yeah, yes, sir.
You did?
Yes, sir.
What was the worst thing you ever broke in playing around in the house?
Probably just a window.
You broke a window?
It was like right before we were getting new hardwood back in our old house, and so my mom didn't really care, but my brother played hockey at the time, and we were messing around playing hockey. I don't know why. I guess it went through the window.
The puck?
Yeah.
She must be a very patient woman.
She is. She's great.
You have 2 brothers and a sister, correct? All of them older than you?
Yes, sir.
Who's the best athlete?
I'd probably go my second oldest brother.
Why?
I mean, I think he was just overall the most athletic. He was played basketball, and yeah, yes, sir.
And how difficult has it been, seriously, not to be able to go to camps that as a junior, coming off your junior year, that would have been critical this past summer, not to be able to go really visit or have people come to see you? How difficult has that been? And you're not the only one. There's thousands of athletes or just students in general that have to deal with it. How frustrating has it been? It's like, why you? Have you ever had that?
I mean, it's definitely a weird year. There's a pandemic going on, so it's been a weird and special year for all of the 2021 kids trying to get a spot at a college program. And I think it's definitely hurt us not being able to see coaches and them to see us come to our games and camps and stuff. But I think it'll help us in the long run, just trying to control what we can control and always be ready when an opportunity hits us.
Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Iowa State. I know your mom and dad both went to Texas. Obviously, here comes Baylor. What was it like? How did you get in touch with Baylor or anyone else like that? Who's the one that started the conversation?
Coach Bell is the one and me and him have a great relationship, and that is the relationships I have with the coaches is definitely a big part of why I chose Baylor.
When did he first contact you?
I'm not too sure. It wasn't too long ago.
No, he got promoted. We had him on the show last week. He was a tight ends coach. He played at Baylor right here locally against China Spring. Argyle plays China Spring every once in a while in football. What was the conversation first like?
You know, he was just saying he just wanted to get to know me a little bit more, and so he really liked my film and stuff, and he knows it's been a weird year, and he can see that I'm a Power 5 caliber player, and you know, he earned my trust pretty early. He's an awesome guy. I think I'm gonna have a blast playing for him.
Did you ever tell any of these Power 5 schools who told you, whether it was Baylor or Iowa State or Texas Tech or whoever, that you're a Power 5 player? Did you ever like say, well, then why don't you offer me a regular scholarship? No, I don't want to be cocky or anything. I didn't say that, but I told him I know I can play at the Power 5 level. Don Hyde of La Vega and Argyle La Vega have a great history. He kind of went to bat for you with Sean Bell because Don Hyde knows Sean and coaches against his brother Brian at China Spring and his father for many years. Your thoughts about someone like that having your back and giving you a nice recommendation?
Yes, sir. His support and his comments it's made an impact on me. It really means a lot, especially coming from, you know, a rival coach. And I think it just shows that he has a lot of class, and he just wants to help people get to their dreams.
A lot of people have questions about what a preferred walk-on is. So tell them what actually comes with that.
I think it's just the same, just without the scholarship.
Which means you really love Baylor. I know your mom and dad Texas. I know you've been to Texas OU games. You've been to all these other schools. But that must mean, because that means you're going to have a financial commitment. But you feel that good that you want to come here and compete and have a chance. How much do you like Baylor, even though you've never really actually, I don't know if you've even stepped on campus here?
Yeah, I've been to the campus, and it's beautiful. But I think Baylor made a really quick and powerful impact on me, just with the relationships, and I think the football program's headed in a good direction.
You've mentioned your conversations with Sean Bell, but did you have a chance to visit much at all with Dave Aranda and also Jeff Grimes? And if you did, what were those conversations like?
They were just really good. Coach Aranda was just saying that they want me to get up to Baylor as fast as I can, and they think I can do a lot of good things up there in Waco.
Hey, you remember going to a Texas OU game when you were a young kid?
Yes, sir.
How many of those did you go to?
I've been to, I think, 3.
3 of them? Do you remember one time after a game you were driving off, your parents were driving off from a game? Do you remember what you did?
They told me they were going to tell you, but yeah, yes, sir.
You're going to have to maybe one day play against Oklahoma.
Pretty sure I just told some college kids that OU sucks.
Okay. Obviously, I guess that means Texas won that year. They haven't done that very much lately, have they?
Yes, sir.
Tomball High School to Argyle. Basketball, football, the delay, the patience, the perseverance, the grinding away at trying to get an opportunity. And yet, nobody, or a lot of people that perhaps are listening, don't even know what you went through as a sophomore. What happened in your sophomore year in high school?
So sophomore year, I was planning on playing for the basketball team when I moved up here to Argyle, and I had to get 2 hip surgeries just because of it was just how my bones developed and grew in my hips. So we had to shave off some bones and then do labrum repairs.
When they told you that, did you ever think you would ever play athletics again?
Yes, sir. I knew I would, but I knew it was going to be a grind and a journey to get back into it.
How hard was the rehab? How hard was physical therapy? What were times like for you? Because I know no matter what procedure it is, whether it's a major surgery, you're talking about hip surgery, my goodness, and that happens usually to people my age. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so I think it was especially hard just because I just moved to Argyle, and basketball was going to be a big part of, just like making new friends and stuff as a new kid moving into a new town. So I think that hurt a lot. And then, I just had to go to physical therapy and do a bunch of exercises on my own and stuff. So that was a grind. It was about every day. And I mean, physical therapy is a workout, especially when you're really trying to get back into it.
Get you out of shape, even if you try to stay in shape. You couldn't run. You couldn't. How long did it take before you felt normal?
I think I got the doctor told me I was supposed to get like my full speed and everything back this past December.
When you were playing for a state championship, were you almost a full year or two almost ahead of that?
Yeah, I guess so.
Did you ever feel anything tug on you that made you nervous about your hips?
Yeah, there were a couple times after the surgery where it would just like pinch and it would kind of like lock up a little bit, but that was normal, like they said. And I mean, it's just like, it's not fun, but I know it's part of the process.
For someone like you, C.J. Rogers, Argyle High School quarterback, all-state, state champion. He's coming to Baylor in a preferred walk-on scholarship. For someone like you that is constantly wanting to do something, what was the downtime like for you? How did you keep yourself occupied?
I actually kind of went like full steam ahead on my classes and did pretty dang good my sophomore year. So I was pretty proud of those accomplishments. But I did everything I could physically to keep in shape and just keep working on my body.
Baylor's got a quarterback depth chart, as you know, that is very deep and young, inexperienced in a lot of different ways. Charlie Brewer's now moved to Utah. What do you know? And have you communicated with anybody that's right now at quarterback on the depth chart?
I have not communicated with anybody right now at quarterback, but I know they've got a lot of talent in that area. And I think I can bring a lot to the table.
What would you say to a Baylor fan who's listening right now about C.J. Rogers?
I would say that I'll do anything to win, and I'm just a competitor, and I'll just do whatever it takes to win.
Including just try to find a chance, right?
Yes, sir.
You're not playing basketball this spring, are you?
Correct.
Just everything is focused on getting yourself set for when you arrive on campus.
Yes, sir.
Won a state championship. What was that like?
That was awesome. That was definitely a lifelong, memorable experience. And it was pretty special to just share that experience with my brothers and teammates.
CJ, enjoy the spring. Enjoy the journey. Thanks for your time. Good luck, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
C.J. Rogers, state championship quarterback at Argyle. He's coming to Baylor, preferred walk-on, SicEm365 Radio.
Fall in love with a new vehicle for less at Allen Samuels with incredible deals like a 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus or Lux with $6,750 in values, or a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for $4,250 in values. There's a reason why Jeep has so many accolades. So come see for yourself and save at AllenSamuels.com. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. AllenSamuelsDCJ.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sausage, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
LaTroy Hawkins played Major League Baseball for a long, long time. He's a special advisor now with the Minnesota Twins. He is the godfather of Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, and he's a longtime friend of the father. We're watching Patrick do anything. Was it in the clubhouse? Was it out on the field when he was running around? Your thoughts about him as just a toddler?
First time his dad and I were teammates in winter ball in Puerto Rico. So, I was babysitting Patrick when Randy and Big Pat were, having date nights, and we're in Puerto Rico. So him and I would watch TV and walk across the street and get Burger King. But the first time I saw him play a sport was baseball. He was playing close to my house up in Dallas, in McKinney. And he was 8, playing on the 10-12 team, starting at shortstop. He played shortstop the first game, and the second game he pitched. And it was pretty impressive.
What is it about him that makes him such an ambassador for the NFL? We had a guest on earlier, and I mentioned this to them, that he genuinely, when he's done playing football or doing something, he's watching football and he is cheerleading for guys that he's eventually going to play against.
Each and every, tweet or, catch something on TV, it's pretty damn amazing.
LaTroy, I remember doing White House games when Patrick took over the starting job for a couple years, and I remember thinking at the time, why is he not being recruited more? And I was told by a lot of people around White House of he's probably going to play baseball, but he's also a great basketball player, and I heard about how good he was at all these different sports. When was football, when did that, you think, move up to number one, or when in your mind did you think, hey, I think he's going to be really good at football in particular?
For me or for him?
for either way.
I just thought that he was a better basketball player than he was football and baseball for me. Just watching him and how naturally it came for him. It was just, I was like, man, he is one hell of a basketball player, because he didn't play the AAUs and do all that stuff in the summertime. When it's football season, he played football. Basketball season, he played basketball. Baseball season, he played baseball. He didn't overlap and do anything like that. But, once he got the starting job and midway through his junior year, and just watching the rest of that season, I was like, okay, he really has a knack for making big plays. He has a knack for slowing the game down and being able to read a defense Granted, it was high school, but then he started to get better at it. In his senior year, and it's like, okay, well, he got a chance to be really special because with his athleticism, his dad and I always knew, like, he can make things happen on a football field that you just don't see every day. And while he wasn't recruited that by those bigger schools, I know that Kingsbury got in early. He got in early and had a chance to see the magic before anybody else saw the magic. And Patrick is just as loyal as the day is long. He went out to Lubbock and fell in love with it and committed to Tech. And, then by his senior year, every school in the country was calling, but it was too late because Kingsbury already, he saw the making a lot earlier than everybody else did.
You think you're old. I'm 61, and I saw Pat Mahomes, of course, your longtime friend and teammate. Mm-hmm. He was as good a multi-sport athlete as I'd ever covered when he was at Lindale High School. And you talk about a great basketball player, and of course a baseball player and a quarterback and all that. Sometimes that doesn't always translate to the genes of your children, whether it's your daughter or son, and he's got the two. How much did Patrick how much did Pat, in your opinion, and I kind of follow this as well, just allow Patrick to just go through life as a kid and play sports?
Well, they did. His mom, you got to give Randy some credit too.
Sure, absolutely.
Because they just, he got to pick what he wanted to play. But it was easy for him because he took to all those things. It was easy. It's not like, okay, well, you don't want to go to practice. And no, he was always up to be doing something with a ball. So in this situation, it was just too easy because he wanted to be on a baseball field, a basketball court, or a football field, and it was destined he was going to play something. It was destined he was going to play something. We just didn't know what it was, and not many people figured it to be football, but I think football was the most challenging for him, and he's always up for a really good challenge. You can watch how he prepared for Sundays and how he prepared on Saturdays and how he prepared on Friday nights. He's always up for a challenge, and I think being a quarterback and playing football challenged him more than being a baseball player or being a basketball player.
But being around like professional athletes when you're a kid give you, if you're willing to watch and be open-minded to it, kind of give you a cheat sheet on how you need to work?
Yeah, he got a chance. He definitely had a up close a view of his daddy working out, watching me working out, being able to come to the stadiums around the country and watch, our teammates work out. So he had an upfront, up close view of, how professional athletes go about it. And, we always talk about how athletically superior he is. But, I think with Patrick, the thing that sets him aside is that his mind, man, he's a super intelligent young man, very intelligent young man. And he has a photographic memory, which plays well for being a quarterback in the NFL.
What was that like to see him lead a team to a Super Bowl last year?
Whew. Exhausting. It was exhausting. Stressful. But you know what? I just watching him never win a state championship in football in high school, not winning many games in college and, putting up all the numbers he put up in college and skipping over all the small championships to go win the ultimate championship. It's pretty amazing. That's all I could, that night after the Super Bowl, we just told him how proud we were of him. And like, man, you reached a height in your career 3 years in that I wasn't able to achieve, nor was his father able to achieve. So being able to, experience that with him was pretty amazing.
Look, Troy, I did not know. I reached out to Pat to get your number, to get you on, and a lot of it because of Patrick, if in fact things worked out, which it did. But also, I read an article by Bob Nightingale about the Hall of Fame. And of course, as you know, none of the modern day players are getting in with Bonds and Schilling and help me guys, obviously Roger Clemens. But he wrote an article that he voted for you. He gave you a vote for the Hall of Fame because something happened with a player many years ago that he thought was just really good who didn't get a vote and, of course, then gone. Did you read that article? Did you hear about it?
Yes, I read the article. I couldn't help but read the article.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about that?
Bob is a very good friend of mine, and, we've been friends for over 20 years. And, when he told me that story, I was kind of blown away about Hal McGray one of his good friends who was on the ballot and he didn't get a vote. And I think, you know, the chances of us getting in because of the careers we had very good careers. We didn't have great careers in the eyes of, you know, the Hall of Fame, being able to get into the Hall of Fame and, you know, just being able to get a vote and understand that I had that type of impact on him as a friend, as a player, and as a friend, that he would vote for me. Like, that was amazing. I think I got 2 votes. And I can always tell my grandkids and my great-grandkids, and they all say, you know, there's a lot of people that played the game of Major League Baseball 10-plus years, and a lot of people were on the Hall of Fame ballot, but there are a lot of people that don't get a vote.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even get a vote. And I was able to get 2 votes. And, you know, that was you know, very special for me, coming from a very special individual, one of my really good friends. And, you know what, I'm just happy that I've had that type of impact on him that he would vote for me. And another one of my buddies voted for me.
What's the life of a relief pitcher like during the season that's different than it would be for everybody else?
Just being able to go out there and not know when you're going to pitch, and being able to answer the bell when you have to go in and pitch more than, you know, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. So there are a lot of, you know, there's a lot that goes into it. You have to be prepared to pitch every day. Every day.
LaTroy, going back to the Hall of Fame, what do you think about guys that you played alongside, saw play, Bonds, Clemens, all those names? What do you think about them not getting into the Hall of Fame and that kind of period of baseball being under such a weird microscope?
You know, it's funny because I played in that era.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I actually played in that era, and, you know, guys did what they needed to do to what they thought they needed to do to be successful and continue to be successful and have longevity in the game. I did it clean. Did it help me get in the Hall of Fame? No, it didn't. But, you know, I don't feel a certain type of way. I don't. Like, you know what? I know all those guys. You know, they're friends. I'm not even being politically, you know, trying to be politically correct. I didn't see anything wrong with it at the time. I really didn't. And I feel like Barry would have probably got in, regardless of the speculation. Schilling's definitely going to get in. McGuire, all those guys are eventually going to get in. They're going to get in because it's going to be a new turnover of people who vote, and some people will be more sympathetic towards you know the cause. And when that happens, they'll end up being Hall of Famers. But it just hadn't happened as of yet. They're gonna. I think a couple guys have one more year on the ballot, and then they go over to the Veterans Committee.
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah, the Veterans Committee, and they didn't get in when they wanted to, but I think at the end of the day, the goal is to get in, and I think eventually they all will get in.
You're now a special assistant to the Twins. You had a 21-year career. I saw a note pop up either earlier today or late last night about the season because of course, what was interrupted last year, and they eventually still played the season out in certain ways in a shortened form. What do you – I know that right now you can't speak for the Twins or baseball, but what do you think, LaTroy, what's going to happen? Because spring training would normally start in a couple of weeks.
As of right now, it looks like spring training is a go unless something happens in the next 2 weeks. So right now it looks like spring training is a go. Anything can happen with the pandemic, with the COVID situation in the next 2 weeks. But as of right now, it looks like spring training will start. Pitchers and catchers are reporting, I think, February the 18th. As of right now. That could change tomorrow. It could change the next day. But as of right now, February 18th is the day, and February 19th is the first day teams are on the field. Pitchers and catchers are on the field.
And that'd be great if they could get there on time.
Yeah, LaTroy, I grew up in Fort Myers, Florida, so I spent a lot of time around the Lee County Sports Complex and City of Palms Park where the Red Sox were. In fact, when I was a kid, I should have brought it today. I had an autographed card of yours I got when I was a young kid, and you were a young player as well. But do you have any favorite spring training haunts that you go to when you're down in Florida?
When I first got drafted, we used to go over to Mike Greenwell's in Cape Coral.
That's right. Yeah.
We used to go hang out over there. We would go over to over on MLK and play basketball over where Dion grew up at.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go over there and play basketball at the community center. What high school did you go to?
I went to Bishop Verot High School.
Okay, Bishop Verot. I had a good friend of mine graduate from Bishop Verot. Brad Conklin. He was a soccer player.
Yeah, Brad and I were in high school together. Yeah.
Man, Brad and I are really good friends.
Yeah.
Man.
Small world.
But,
yeah.
And I would go to the football games when we were in town. That's when I was in the lower minor leagues. But during spring training, I would always go to the playoff basketball games. I had a chance to see Teddy Dupay play.
I went to school with Teddy. I went to middle school with Teddy.
And what's the other kid, the running back?
Ernest Graham.
Ernest Graham. They were all on the same high school team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched Teddy Dupay drop 77 one night.
Yeah.
77.
Yeah, he was nuts. He was so damn good.
You're talking golf, right? He shot 77 in golf.
No.
77 in a high school game.
No, he dropped it. And the thing is, the night before, the playoff game before, 2 days before, he dropped 75, if I'm not mistaken. And our general manager, Terry Ryan, the big guys in the organization, Larry Corrigan, all those guys had went to see him play. And they came back and told myself and Torrey Hunter, you guys get a chance on Tuesday night, y'all should go check out the kid over at Cape Coral Mariner. You'll be surprised. We watched him drop 75 points. And me coming from Indiana, I was like, man, get that out of here. What's this you talking about? And it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And it was a legit 77. Man. He had 36 free throws. Man, it was impressive.
36
it was
free
impressive.
throws.
Bishop Verot. And I've been to that holiday tournament at Bishop Verot a couple times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good old Fort Myers.
Yep.
LaTroy, I know that Patrick's pretty much faced off with, everybody at this point, in his career, but and grew up, I think he was a big Aaron Rodgers fan last I recall, but as much as he's focused in on and probably not starstruck by anything at this stage, what do you think it means, if anything, for him to be going, head-to-head with a guy like Tom Brady in the Super Bowl?
You know what? I think it's going to be his fifth meeting with him, and it's not like he's past that point where it's starstruck.
Right.
I think he got past that when they opened up at they played. I played New England in New England, and he was like, okay, well, this is we're both quarterbacks now. He still looks up to him, but the whole starstruck thing. No, it's all about, going out there and trying to give Brady an L. That's what it's all about now. Mm-hmm. Giving him an L.
You pitched in over 1,000 games.
Yes. 1,042.
Oh, okay. 1,042. I know your friend Pat had what I thought was like a robot type arm, because he pitched a long time as well. But you pitched in 1,042 games. How many times did you ever have any issues over that time? Did you pretty much stay injury-free?
Well, I had surgery in 2010 season. I was with the Milwaukee Brewers and started off in spring training. Didn't feel good. Ended up having shoulder surgery that August. So I had labrum surgery, and that was the only major injury I had in my career. And I was past having 10 years, and I was 14. Got 13 years in the big leagues when I had my first surgery. So Dr. Yoakum, he rest in peace, the doctor out in L.A., he told me when I got there, I don't make a living off guys like you. I need to see you in your 3rd year, your 8th year, and then your 13th year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like going back for an oil change or something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, LaTroy, great to have you. Thanks for responding to me and coming on the show. Good luck to Patrick this week. We're going to be down there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for coverage at what will be obviously a minimized Radio Row. But I appreciate your time so much. Appreciate you for what you mean, too.
All right. Thank you for having me, and you can give me a call anytime. Thanks, guys.
We sure will. LaTroy Hawkins, 1,042 big league games, 21 years, pitched when he was 42 years old, and now a special assistant to the team, the team that drafted him back with the Minnesota Twins in 1995. He made his debut in 95.
Yeah, I need to rephrase my question about Patrick and Brady, but talk to somebody else about that, because I know he's not starstruck. I know he's not focused in any way on Brady, but just I'm trying to figure out, like, if it's cool to him that he's facing Tom freaking Brady in a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Not like that he's intimidated in any – I know he's not, but, like, You're not just facing Joe Schmo. You're facing Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
It's like the cherry on top of the challenge.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's what I was really.
I would say that's like in a golf tournament, and you're going down the last 18th hole, teeing off, and you're next to Tiger to win a tournament.
Like
I think even if you've won a bunch.
Yeah, and even if you've played him already a ton of times, you've been in his group and all that. It's just different when you're actually at that top spot and it's you and that guy and it's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And I know he's played him, like LaTroy said, 5 times already or whatever. But
like Koepka at the Masters a couple years ago.
Yeah. So I know there's no intimidation or anything that has to do with Brady, but just like I just feel like if I was in that position, I would sit back and be like, that's pretty damn cool. Like, I'm not just playing in the Super Bowl again, but I'm playing Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. That's pretty neat.
Paul Catalina's top 5 at 5:55.
All right, the top 5 today. Top 5 things to watch after the Stafford trade. Obviously, Matt Stafford on his way to Los Angeles, the Rams. From Detroit, Jared Goff going to Detroit, and some draft picks as well. Number 5, how do the Lions use those picks? Do they do something with them? They move around, or do they kind of stick with them and kind of load up on people? I think they need to maybe... Like I mentioned it before early in the show, guys, they need to do what the Dolphins did. Like, you've got a mass number of picks. Use those picks.
You mean wait till they come to you, like 2022? Don't trade them up to get like one extra, and
you trade up to get somebody when you are that somebody away from doing something. The Lions are not that. You need the players. You need the depth.
Accumulate talent.
Accumulate talent, exactly. Number 4, what other QBs will move? Could Jimmy G move? God. Could Matt Ryan move? Could Kirk Cousins move? I mean, there's a big one. We'll get to that in a second. But
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah. But what other QBs are on the move? And now this hasn't set the median price. And again, we'll get that. But it's set some kind of price for what value is based on where you grade Stafford compared to some of the other guys. Number 3, how long is Jared Goff the starter in Detroit, you think? He's got a couple years left on that big contract.
Who's right now on the depth chart? Do you know?
I mean, it's him.
Tell you.
It's him. I mean, it's him. It's him and, some young, whatever backup guys. But how long is he trying to revive his career? I mean, he's going to try to revive his career. He was the number 1 overall pick just 6 years ago or 5 years ago. But
what happened to him?
Or is he a bridge quarterback to the next guy that they're going to get?
He was what appeared to be the perfect fit for the mad scientist or whatever you want to call him. We say that too much with young coaches like McVay. What happened? Did he lose his arm strength? Did he become like what we saw the last year with Charlie Brewer? He couldn't throw the ball down the field. Did something happen with the Rams?
They have all these weapons. I mean, Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and other guys, and their just passing offense was very blah.
I don't think a Robert Woods is a guy you're going to. He's fast. I know that. Kupp's a guy. He's a slot receiver, right? Or kind of. What happened?
I don't think anything happened. I think that they just
Gurley
feel like
got
they can
traded
get
or
better.
what? Yeah.
I mean, would you rather have Matthew Stafford or Jared Goff? I'd rather have Matthew Stafford 10 times out of 10.
I'm talking about why he even became expendable.
And I do think at the end of the year, clearly Goff and McVay were not.
Yeah, they were not.
They're not driving at all.
The Lions' backup quarterbacks are Chase Daniel, who's been in the league now for like 25 years, and David Blau, who's a Texas native who played at Purdue.
Kid from Purdue.
All right, number 2, no first-round picks for the Rams until 2024. How do they navigate that? Look, Matthew Stafford is there to try to help, them get to a Super Bowl. That's why he's there. But with no first-round picks until 2024.
When was the last time they used a first-round pick?
Jared Goff.
6 years ago.
Yeah,
so they obviously have done something right. They went to a Super Bowl.
But is it eventually going to catch up to you?
Sure it does. Absolutely.
It's going to catch up to you.
It absolutely
does. It caught up to them already because they went all in, boom or bust on the last Super Bowl run, and they busted.
Haven't been back since.
Now they've, they let go of all those picks, and now the ones they have remaining, they're going all in again.
Who are a couple of teams in the NFC East that haven't done anything in a long, long time? Washington and Dallas. They used to treat first-round pick, trade them all the time. They didn't always use them.
They will have gone 7 straight years without a first-round pick.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And look,
either you have the best scouting department in the history of the world.
Their first-round pick this year is at the Jaguars for Jalen Ramsey. That was their first-round draft pick last year. So
I would give a first-round pick up for Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. They gave up 2 for him. They gave up 2 for Matt Stafford. All right, number 1. So if 2 first-round picks is the price for Matthew Stafford, what is the price for Deshaun Watson?
Better add at least one more.
Yeah. I would say
now, if Bill O'Brien was still in charge and Deshaun Watson was mad, he would trade him for all the candy in the city that he sent him to.
I would say with Watson, you have to have something that's now. The 2022 and 23 first-round picks, at some point, it's like a credit card. That's going to hurt the Rams at some point. Deshaun Watson, you have to, because he's 25,
Mm-hmm.
you have to get something that's going to give you a pick today, like in April. It's got to be a high first-round pick, right?
Yeah, I mean,
top 5, top 6, 7, 10. And on top of that, another one somewhere.
I would say it's got to be a top 10 pick because some of the top teams may not want to send that many picks over.
Well, John McClain said the Texans will, or the Rams. He said the Rams-Lions trade will have nothing to do with the Watson trade. If the Texans do it, they'll want 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 young defensive starters at the least.
Wow.
So
well, that's pretty good if you can get that in return.
So he wants to pony up 2 1s, 2 2s, and at least 2 defensive starters to go get Deshaun Watson. I mean, I don't know everybody's pick situation well enough in the years to come to know who could probably swing that or not. But yeah, it's gonna be a steep price tag, obviously, and rightfully so.
Thank you to Kendall Gammon, former Chiefs radio analyst, also Myron Metcalf, ESPN college basketball senior writer, also C.J. Rogers of Argyle. Thanks to LaTroy Hawkins, special assistant, Minnesota Twins, and the godfather of right now who could be, other than if Brady is the godfather of quarterbacks, Mahomes might be next in line. Also, thanks to Rob Solon, thanks to Armstrong Sims running the mothership, Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak. Tomorrow, Grayson and Craig will be here. Mac Rhodes right off the top of the show. A couple of great guests lined up already. Plus, we'll hear from Jerome Tang. All of that tomorrow. Up-tempo, 11 to 2. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching whenever you do. Paul and I will head to Tampa tomorrow evening with coverage Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on this beautiful radio, television, internet thing, whatever. Good night. SicEm365 Radio.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.